box of rags someone gave us. Hi, I'm Talbot Mayo, and my band and I will be doing a Dolly Parton tribute show on September 27th. We'll have some Dolly songs. I'll have some special friends there with me. I really can't wait for you to hear them. And then I'll be doing some of my original tunes, a lot of them inspired by my love of Dolly Parton. And you get your tickets at the Manor Mill website, and I hope to see you there.
Hey, Baltimore. It is Davis and Leppo with another episode of Sanity Lounge. Today we have John Rallo with us. He's a Jiu Jitsu black belt, founder of Ground Control. He is the man behind the Baltimore Shogun fight. We're going to talk about how he went from fighter to coach to promoter.
Yeah.
But I am
to lobbyist.
To
got it
lobbyist.
legalized, too.
Oh, nice.
I can't wait to get into
that. I just want to start off with a little anecdote. I guess I don't even know if that's the right word, but I have it on very good authority that despite your menacing demeanor, you're actually a big softie.
Yeah. You know Sandy?
No, I know Vito.
Oh, all right. Oh, my cousin?
Yeah. Me and Vito occasionally have cigars and whiskey.
Yeah, nice.
And bourbon.
Now I'm good to people as long as they're nice to me, Be nice to me and my crew and everything's cool.
Yeah, he said you taught him, Pietro, and Jello how to fight.
Oh, my Lord, I haven't seen Vito in a minute.
Yeah.
Now I have a couple Vitos in the family. And I will see the Vito from Vito's Ristorante on occasion, the Petronellis.
Yeah. This is the Castellanos.
Yeah, the Castellanos. I love their father's the best, Nicole.
Awesome. Yeah, he gave me a little he gave me a little list.
The whole crew, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Vito's, when we all get together, we all just break balls all the time,
Yeah.
so it's pretty
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a friendship that lasts, So, John, were you born in Baltimore? Where were you born at?
Yeah, I was born here.
Nice.
I was born in City Hospital, I believe,
Nice.
Old City Hospital. It's at Bayview now.
So you're a lifer, Baltimore lifer?
Oh, nice.
Yes, sir.
Bayview City Hospital. I was born at Sinai.
My first question to you is that did you come to MMA through because you were bullied or because of film, or what was your introduction to MMA?
I think really just the UFC. I played football and I wrestled and played baseball.
McDonough.
Yeah, I did go to McDonough.
Apparently you were a star.
I did okay. And
in all three,
sorry
in all
about
sports?
that, man. My eyes are dried out.
Oh, no problem.
If the weed be doing that to me.
That's all right.
But the LASIK does it too. So I carry eye drops with me.
Yeah.
But
That's all right, man.
yeah, I got into it late. I didn't even start training until I was 29. Honestly.
Holy shit.
The UFC didn't even come around till 93.
Right.
I graduated in 86. So
you look great, babe.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. So yeah, so when I saw Royce, the first few, you didn't really know what was going on. When he beat Dan Severn is when I kind of made my mind up that I wanted to do it.
Dan Severn, to be clear, is the brawny looking guy.
Yeah.
He looks like the guy.
He really does.
Yeah,
right?
he does.
He was an Olympic alternate wrestler. Behind Jeff Blatnick, who was a gold medalist. And, when Royce, who's 170 pounds, tapped out Dan, who's 260 and who's an Olympic wrestler. And I, would always root for the wrestlers because I had a wrestling background. And I was like, well, look, that guy's a better wrestler than I ever was. So I need to know what that little guy knows.
Right.
So I can't have some little skinny dude like that twisting me up.
Right.
So, that's when I started searching.
That's awesome. And to be clear, for the novice or for someone who doesn't understand, that's like being in San Francisco in '68 at the dawn of
the dawn of UFC. Yeah, I remember that. We used to watch those often.
It's like every person who had a little bit of a pedigree with a ground game, if it was wrestling or if they had a pedigree with their hands.
Yeah, their hands. It was real style versus style fighting back then, which was, I think, why everybody was fascinated, because everybody always thought the karate guys were the toughest, or the boxers were the toughest, and everybody found out that the grapplers in a style versus style situation the grappler won 90% of the time.
Right. It was more of
Yeah.
a spectacle thing back then, but then Hoist took the whole thing by storm. But it's so cool that you were literally one of the first generation of that.
The
what
first
made-
black belt under Renzo.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the first
Maryland,
one. Yes,
the Maryland,
in Maryland.
yeah.
Yeah. His first black belt here, I believe, was Matt Serra. I think was his first American black belt.
Nice.
But Henzo's the best. But
So what
Henzo.
years are we talking about?
I met Henzo in like 97, 98.
And here, or did you
No,
like go to Brazil?
No,
or
in
some
New
shit?
York. New York. He had moved to New York in the mid 90s. Thank God he doesn't mind the cold weather. Most of the guys moved to California,
Right.
Florida, but he moved. He was smart. He knew where the money was. He moved
Right.
to New York City, and I was training in Baltimore under a guy named Mark Finley. Mark passed, but Mark was under Hickson Gracie.
Okay.
So we're going around the schools that were saying they have jiu-jitsu, and nobody had it. It was all BS. When you would go in there, I'd wind up killing whoever I rolled with, or they wouldn't even roll with me when they got to look at me. So
could you tell, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you tell, like, as a young man at that moment, being an athlete and everything like that, like, could you feel that could you feel that you were onto something, like, with that?
I mean,
you know
I
what I
think
mean? Like,
I've always been into contact sports. You're talking years after school was over, so I was bouncing and collecting money and all kinds of, you know what I mean? And I had a reputation for being able to handle myself. So when you saw that coming, I was fascinated by it. And my friends were all like, "Oh, you should try that. You should try that." And I'm like, "Man, you don't understand. Like 3 2-minute rounds of a wrestling match is incredibly, tiring."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There were no time limits back then. Hoist was fighting for a half hour straight and stuff
That's
like
right.
this.
Right.
So, but I wanted to learn it, and if I could do it, then great. So I went and competed. It was the first tournament they had in Baltimore. John Burdick, he had a karate, huge karate tournament there twice a year, and he had a grappling thing that he started. So I entered it, and I was there, and people that know the sport, like Lloyd Irvin had a few guys there. Lloyd's like a very reputable coach. Mario Yamasaki had some guys there, and Mario's a ref, from the UFC. Him and his brother Fernando, so they had some guys in the tournament, and I had never even had a gi on really before. So I entered this thing. There were 16 guys in my weight class, and I wind up beating 4 dudes and winning the tournament. And I didn't submit anyone. I just would out wrestle them. I just took guys down and was able to guerrilla my way out of things and score points. So I won all 4 matches on points, and the referee was Mark. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, where do you train?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I really don't train." And he goes, "Like, are you serious?" And I go, "I've been looking, we can't find anybody." So at the time, Mark was he was a blue belt under Hickson Gracie. And he's like, "Well, hey, I'm a Hickson blue belt. I have a little school, Baltimore. It was like Baltimore BJJ or something like that back in the day. And it was at Baltimore Boxing Club, like at Jake Smith's place. So we would go down there like 2-3 days a week and train. And that's when I stayed. Like my first day, I went and rolled with Mark. And he's a little dude, 170 pounds. And I wrestled with him, and when we stopped, I was kind of like in a wrestler's, like referee's position, like kind of how they start. And he, and I was like, in my head, I'm going, well, he didn't get me in nothing, and I'm in a pretty good position here. And then he looks up at me and he goes, "Pretty good for no hands." Like he held on to his belt while he wrestled with me. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. So all right then, I'm coming here. And when I came, I brought like 10 people with me. And within 2 weeks, Mark was like, "Do you want to fight?" And I go, yeah, actually, that's why I came. I want to learn this stuff. I think I'd be all right at it. So he takes me to Atlantic City to meet Hickson and wrestle with Hickson, because in order to compete under his name, you have to have like his permission.
Holy shit. Okay, so hold on, hover on that. I mean, is that fucking upsetting or intimidating, or were you kind of
looking forward to it?
Okay.
First of all, you're like, you don't have any concept of what it is yet because you're so new to
I
the
guess
sport.
that's true, right?
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Like
right.
I think like at this, if I was like a white belt in there for 6 or 8 months and I knew who everybody was, then it might be
right.
But like
I guess you're right.
And for people that follow it, Rickson is considered like the best ever. In the Gracie family, they all say Rickson was the man.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
I'm
so
like, holy shit.
so and Rickson, you can look online. He used to go to seminars, and there could be 100 people at the seminar. He would like just lay down and just tap like afterwards. Whoever wanted to roll, whoever was helping him, they'd have a line or two, and he would wrestle like 40 straight people and just tap them all quickly.
And to be clear,
insane,
wasn't
man.
he like ultimately like Hoist was the UFC guy, but like it could have been any of them, and I think
they didn't do Rickson on purpose,
right?
You know, first off, like the original UFC was an advertisement for Gracie Jiu Jitsu. Like they knew they were going to win because nobody else knew their sport,
right?
And they had been doing like the UFC is called Vale Tudo in Brazil. They've been having fights over there for 60, 70 years.
Right.
So they already knew when they came over here, they had a leg up on everybody.
Right. They like gamed the system.
Yeah,
a little
pretty
bit.
much.
You know?
So this was their way of introducing their martial art to the world, really. Like Horian was a smart guy.
Brilliant.
And that's what he used it for. He used Hoist because, number one, younger brother, very meek looking. I mean, Hoist is a quiet guy, $160, $170. If he doesn't look like he lifts at all. Rickson, first of all, is a character. He looks more like almost like a gymnast or something. Like he's a $180. He's solid abs. You know, he looks the part.
Right.
He's not going to listen to anybody. So they figured Hoist wins. That shows it's the art. It's not athleticism or anything.
Right.
Also, they can kind of control him. So that's how it went down. You know, Hoist was the guy that got picked. Rickson went to Japan and wound up winning like the first few things over there. But you know, that's why everybody like if you ask people who like just know the UFC and stuff, if they know who Hoist is, everybody thinks Hoist is like the top guy in the family.
I was just going to say who is.
Yeah, no disrespect to Hoist whatsoever, but Rickson, everybody said was the best.
Right. Like even Hoist would be like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Have
Have
they ever all gone at it?
I mean, they every day they trained, they would go at it. You know what I mean? So they all knew who was tapping who. Rickson was whacking everybody. I mean, they got a little brother, Hoyler, who, look, if you just looked at competitions and things, and again, I mean no disrespect to Hoist. Like, Hoist is the reason pretty much everybody from my generation started.
Absolutely.
But, you know, like, Hoyler was never even lost as a black belt in his career until he met wrestled Mario Sperry in the finals. Sperry's another world champ. Sperry's a 225-pound guy. Hoyler's like a $140. So it was in the absolute division where they even met. But you know, Renzo's like very well. Renzo's probably the most popular of all the Gracies. Like he's super successful. I mean, he had wins over like, I want to say 5 UFC champs, and 3 of them were heavyweights. And Renzo's a $180. You know, but Renzo's a character. Like,
Are any of them over 200 pounds?
Yes. Like, well, if you ask them like who was the most recent family champion, a guy named Hodger Gracie, and I helped Hodger train for his first couple fights. Hodger's like 6'4", 6'5".
Oh wow!
And but he's not a huge guy. He's
Right.
like 220, 225. But he's like a 10, 12-time world champion in the gi, and then out of the gi, he did Abu Dhabi, which is like the world's, and he was the first competitor to go there and submit everybody in his weight class and then everybody in the absolute division. So he walked away like as, you know, the double champ or whatever. But yeah, so most people would have said Hodger. You know, right now, I think probably coming up, there's a younger one. It's Hyan's son. He trains up at Renzo's. He's a big kid too. He's like
how old is he?
He's younger. I don't know if he might be 20.
And what about Hodger?
22. Hodger's done. Hodger's retired at this
okay.
point. Yeah, Hodger's, you know, maybe he's probably, I'd have to look, but he's probably 40 or something like that.
Okay.
Now.
So you mentioned going to New York, and well, let's start back with you had to go and wrestle.
Wrestle Rickson. Yeah. So anyway,
to prove your point.
Yeah. So he's in like whacking all these people quickly, and like there's
and you're watching it.
Yeah. Of course, there's stories they're telling people. Like he would count down. Like he would tell you. arm bar, right arm.
That's
and
upsetting.
And be like 10, 9, 8, and he would get everybody. So
wow.
So he, my coach was like, look, don't be a sissy like these other guys, like shoot and take him down or pull guard. And I'm like, guard? I didn't have a guard.
Right.
So like when I went out there, I'd take him down, and like I literally survived like for like 5 or 6 minutes. Like people were clapping because I was just guerrillaing my way out of things. And
that's huge. That's
yeah. And I
noteworthy,
just remember he what was crazy was as soon as I took him down, he like swept me. And that like a reversal. So from top to bottom, I would love to have wrestled him when I learned jiu-jitsu so I could really tell you how great he was. But like I had base, from wrestling and all, and he swept me, and I just, muscled my way back on top. He swept me. I got on top again, and I guess he figured out, all right, this guy's not staying on the bottom. So he started trying from the bottom, and he went for like an arm bar. I got out of that. He went for a triangle, which I got out of, and then he went for another one, like slapped it on hard, and I got out of it. And we like wrestled all the way off the mats, and like the etiquette in the gym, if you go off the mat, you just get up, go back to the middle and start over. So I go back to the middle, we get in there, I'm back in his guard, and he kind of like, I don't know any really guard pass. I've been in jiu-jitsu for like 2 weeks at this point. So
I mean, that's fucking
trying,
amazing.
to kind of get past his guard, and he turtles up almost in the referee position. So I get on him, and he goes to like Peterson me. It's actually a wrestling move, so I was familiar with that, and I countered it. And as soon as he saw I knew what was going on there, he went right back to his back. And then he like swept me once, swept me twice, and now I'm getting tired.
Right.
And eventually, he gets me. So afterwards, I was like, man, thanks for the opportunity to roll. And he goes, no, my friend, thank you for tapping. So the next guy gets up to go, and Hickson said, now I'm done. And then he used me as the example. He was like, he goes, if my friend John and I had a problem walking down the street, he goes, he would pound me in the pavement if I didn't know jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
He said, but I was able to weather the storm. And when he got tired, I was able to take advantage. And then he says to me, he goes, look, John, God blessed you with your size and your speed and your strength. He goes, so when you go to class, he goes, leave that all at the door. He goes, just technique, technique, technique. That way when you have to call upon your gifts, they'll be there. He goes, if you do that, he goes, you might beat me one day. He goes, but at least I'll have the pleasure to say you're my student. So, here
That's
I am.
fucking incredible.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
So
That's like Yoda
I'm all
shit.
in, right? I'm all into this shit. And
Yeah.
now I got the best guy ever
Holy
telling me that I could be good. And, I called my dad on the way home. I
guarantee
remember
it.
I was like, I so you know what this is, Dad? I go, this is like, at the time, Holyfield was the champ.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, this is like me boxing for 2 weeks, getting in the ring and going like 6 rounds with Evander Holyfield,
Right, dude.
just off the rip. So I go, so I stuck with it. And literally, he obviously gave me permission to compete. And then probably within 6 months, I meet Henzo, who's in New York.
Right.
And because I met them competing against his guys like up in New York and New Jersey. And he offered to train me. And like he offered twice before, we wound up getting with him. And, I went to my coach and I'm like, look, I know you're with Hickson. I understand you're loyal to Hickson. But at the time, like his association was kind of falling apart, Hickson's, because of his wife. And, I'm like, he's in California. Like they have all these things on, like if you're at a Hickson affiliate, you got to fly to California and take privates for like $250 an hour and all this nonsense. So I was like, I said to him, I go like, when you riding out there, I go, who's helping you with your technique? I go, we could go to New York. I can train with Henzo. You can come with me and we can bring that back down here. And that was kind of how it went. Like my first day that I met Henzo at, the ref, I don't know how much you guys watch it, but the ball guy, Big Dan Mergliata.
Of course.
Dan's a friend.
Yeah. Big Dan, baby. He's been in it for a minute.
Yeah. Dan's a buddy of mine. I fought on his first amateur event. And then he reffed Shogun. Like he wrote me an email, he goes, you fought on my first amateur event and I'm reffing your first show. How cool is that? But
that's amazing.
Like that's how long I've
fun.
known him. But he had a tournament. It was like the Grappler's Cup or something. It was like pretty cool trophy. And so I go up there, just me and Mark went together, and Henzo's entire, I mean, he has his whole team there. Like when you rolled in the finals, there was like a mat, and their whole team's beating the mat. And like back, like in Brazil, they used to do all these songs and shit.
Ritualistic,
so these guys
tribal drumming.
These guys would kind of do all that stuff. And, you know, so, but I wound up beating a couple of his guys, and one of it, you know, I beat one like my first or second match, and then beat the next guy in the finals in the heavyweight division. And then I beat another one of his guys in the finals of the absolute division. And so we talked there. He said something about training with them, but I didn't really know Henzo. And then I'm like, yeah, I ain't going up to New York to have 80 guys waiting. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I went to another tournament, the Grappler's Quest, and I saw him there, and he was like, you know, you fighting today? And I'm like, I didn't drive up here to watch. So he goes, I didn't bring any of my heavyweights. He goes, you beat all my guys already.
Nice.
And, you know, so.
That's a good rap to have.
Yeah. So,
baby.
we were, you know, we talked for a few minutes. And then when I was in the finals, I wrestled a school that was like the school they were the big rivals with. It was a school back then called Takai. They were like a Carlson Gracie gym. And, so I tapped the guy in the finals, and Henzo was sitting next on the mat, and so was Ricardo Almeida, who's another UFC fighter, like great jiu-jitsu guy. And you know, they were like, Henzo goes, "You are that thing that paves the streets," and Ricardo goes, "A steamroller." He goes, "Yes, you are a steamroller." He goes, "You should come and train with us." And they gave me his cell number, gave me his home number. I told Mark on the way home, and Mark called Hickson. Hickson gave him the blessing because him and Henzo got along well. And Mark's gym had, I don't know, 20 members. You know, it's not like Hickson's making big money off of Mark. And he's like, no, Henzo's great. You know, he'll be closer. So that's how it started. I used to go to New York. We used to have, the school was open 3 days a week here, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. And then Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, I would drive to New York and train.
Wow.
So, and I did that for 7 years, you know, back and forth.
Now, do you, when you're doing those trainings, like in hindsight, was there, like, did you roll with any legends of the sport at that moment? Like, you know,
anybody who came to New York, you were wrestling all of them.
Right.
And I probably wrestled with 10 different Gracies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, Henzo back in the day was the only gym in New York. And every Brazilian from Gracie Barra, which is the gym where Henzo got his black belt, every MMA fighter came to New York. Like, they didn't train MMA really over there. It was strictly a jiu-jitsu gym. So when they were going to fight MMA, they would send the guys over to New York so Henzo could train them. So we used to get everybody.
That's
know, any visitors that were coming. The UFC people are coming in. You know, like the Gracies versus Japan, like the Japanese would all come over and they would video practices and stuff like that. So, yeah, I was in at a super cool time. And, you know, guys like, you know, I got to come up with like probably right now, the number one coach in the sport is John Danaher. John is a Henzo black belt. Like, we all came up together. John, Matt Serra, Ricardo Almeida, Sean Alvarez.
I love Matt, you know? The Terra Serra, baby.
Matt's awesome. We're going the 13th, we all are doing Joe's podcast together again.
Dude,
me, him, and Dean.
Matt Serra, I'm into the UFC. I was way into it. We're so fucking busy lately that I feel like I don't know shit.
Man, there's so many of them. I don't follow it the way I used to because there's just so many of them.
Well, I was in it, and I was in it when Matt the Terra Serra took George St. Pierre.
That was so
my
crazy.
God, I was so happy for him.
Right?
Oh, I was
he's
so
Matt,
fucking
like,
happy
and what you
for
see
him.
is what you get. Like, that's not an act. That's
I know.
Matt 24/7. You know,
I love
he's
that
always
guy.
on.
Tell him Brian Lepper from Sanity Lounge loves him. I love that fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's a real dude.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
yeah,
what
he's a Long Island, you know, Italian through and through.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but he was one. I guess he might have been the first Long Island cat who had the black belt under.
Yeah, I mean, like he was the first guy to have a black belt from Henzo here. You know,
is that right?
Yeah,
I was to say I knew there was some.
Yeah,
sort
I'm pretty
of
sure he was the first like true American. Like Ricardo maybe got it before him. And technically, they say Ricardo was born here, but you know, Ricardo brought up in Brazil, speaks Portuguese. I mean, he speaks, you know, English too. But
Matt's like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, exactly.
New York?
You know, Matt's
like,
straight up,
right.
you know, New York guy.
Right.
And I mean, Matt's family, his brother Nick was a black belt. His father was
Is
a
that
black
right?
belt.
I didn't know
they
that.
had Yeah, the Sarah boys. They got a crew.
Yeah, what a character. I mean, real genuine. It seems like a nice guy. A great story a couple years back. There was like he like intervened.
In Vegas.
Yeah, like
What happened?
Well, I don't remember the exact details, but I know that because he's such a classy badass, he disengaged a serious situation.
Dude was just being a drunk, belligerent asshole.
Right.
And Matt was there with his wife and kids and stuff. I think he said his like in-laws maybe and things. And guy was just getting belligerent in the cafeteria, and Matt told him to chill. And when the guy got shitty with him, Matt wound up putting him on the ground and had him mounted.
Right.
And literally just was holding his wrists.
Right.
And he's going, calm down,
Right.
calm down. And the guy was just mad as shit that he couldn't do anything.
Right.
And Matt like just held him there until security came. And then when they came, he's like, and they're like, all right, you can let him up. And he goes, look, are you going to control him? Like, I'm going to, if I let him go, like get him now while I got him here. And, they finally got up and the guy was all butthurt, but it is what it is.
And then he Googled him.
Yeah,
the
right.
next day
Matt
when
could
he's
have killed him,
sobered up, Right. It's like, let me see who this guy was.
Yeah, Matt would have strangled his ass.
But that's so fun,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Like,
insane.
what a great, like I said, it's like, I mean, it's not as tough by any means, but it's like being in San Fran in the 60s.
Yeah, no,
you were at the
definitely.
pinnacle of a revolution, and
The
you
UFC
learned.
revolution,
Yeah, like you literally learned
No,
from
we
Yoda,
were there, like we
you
know the history. And
Right.
I trained with Hoist. I went out to Hermosa Beach and I trained with Hoist for like 3 days. I trained with Shamrock, like Frank Shamrock,
Wow.
like for 5 days.
Hey,
I
tell
went
the-
to the Machados and trained.
Explain to the layman getting a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Oh, it's a big deal.
is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big
it's a
deal.
little bit different, than the
like
other
everybody's
ones.
kid has a black belt in karate, and no disrespect
Taekwondo,
to your
yeah.
kids, but I'm
Right.
like, 10-year-old's not a black belt in anything.
Right.
But that's all just money.
Right.
Belt tests and keep you coming.
Right.
In jiu-jitsu, like you definitely are going to earn that belt. I mean, it took me 7-8 years to get mine. And I was driving to New York 3 days a week, so going up back and forth, and I was competing and things. So it definitely takes time. I mean, you're talking 8 to 10 years on average, and some people longer.
And you're in your early 30s doing this.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
what,
I started
what
at
did
29.
you do back then that allowed you to drive up there to New York
yeah,
3
when
days a week?
when I first when I got started, I was got out of, I was doing like mutual funds and that kind of stuff. Like
Is that right?
I did have a business with my cousin too. Like he was he wrote software, but we also did hardware, like networking. Like
Okay.
we used to do like back when Novell Netware, like DOS was still on computers.
Yeah.
Windows
Right, this
was
is
just
your
coming in. You
computer
know what I'm
tech in
talking?
the
I'm
90s.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
You're talking late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s. So I used to do that with my cousin, and then I took some of that money and got into doing, like, back when everybody was flipping the houses.
Yep.
So I started doing some of the house stuff, and I got out of the computer business when I started getting more into jiu-jitsu, and doing the houses allowed me the free time that I didn't have to be someplace all the time, that I could go and do what I had to do. So, with the houses, my main job was finding them, seeing what kind of work they needed. Like, we had some guys that worked for us, basically.
Right.
So once you got the house, you just turn them
You
loose on
delegate
it.
the project, and then you can go.
So that was the the main thing that
That's
I was
amazing,
doing.
dude.
Yeah, that's great.
That's fucking incredible. So, like, you mentioned that you've been on Rogan's podcast a few times. What does that feel like? Just in the era, and
Dude, I lucked up on that too.
well, I know that's what I mean. You're like Forrest Gump, baby. No disrespect, Christ, don't armbar me here. But I mean,
straight up, like, that was an accident.
I feel like you just kind of walk into these royal occasions.
Well, here's
a
what
lot.
happened. Like, look, I've known Joe for 30 years.
Oh, really?
I met Joe through jiu-jitsu. He was coming to Baltimore, playing at like the Improv or something down at the power plant. And they went online and said, where should we train in Baltimore? And there was a forum back in the day called the Underground, which is what kept the UFC alive when McCain was going after it and all
Wow,
that stuff.
that's good shit.
Like, the pros would have green names and other people had regular names. And like, literally, they were forums, bulletin boards. And I'm talking fighters would be on there. Rogan would be on there. I was ground control back then on there. So that was, they went online, asked where to go. People said, go see me. And that's what they wound up doing. And
if you got to get it, baby.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
So we went, and Eddie was doing Abu Dhabi trials, which I was doing too. So he came and trained with us one day. Then I took him up to Ricardo's on a Saturday. We drove up.
Eddie Bravo.
There. Yeah, exactly. Yep, Eddie Bravo.
Eddie, like everybody knows.
Sorry.
No, I dig it.
And so we went up there, did some training, and that night we came home, watched the UFC, and Joe was performing. And then Sunday we went to the show, and Sunday after the show, my brother and his wife, they used to open the ESPN zones for them.
Oh, wow.
So they opened the one here in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. They were running it, and they gave us a room in the back where when Joe was done, we all went and ate and stuff like that. And we got, and that was how we met and exchanged numbers. And we've just been friendly ever since. Mm-hmm. If I go to a UFC, he'll always hook us up. He's the man. Joe is super generous, as you can see. I mean, look, he's giving all his friends a living now from that podcast.
Yeah, it's huge.
So the whole accident was he had moved to Texas. He was doing the podcast down there. My wife was going to South Carolina to visit her cousin and her son, Ethan, our stepson, or my stepson, he was going with her. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do while they're out? Do I go somewhere, whatever? And I'm like, man, I ain't been to Texas yet. So for the show. So I hit Joe and I'm like, hey man, Angel's going away, these 4 or 5 days. I said, are you going to be home? I'll shoot down there and check out what's going on, check out the comedy club.
Right.
And he says, not only am I here, but Matt's doing the podcast. He goes, so come down.
Holy shit.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go. I didn't even know Dean was doing it because Joe just told me Matt was doing it.
And
so,
Dean Thomas,
Dean Thomas is
He was in I want to say Ultimate Fighter season 1 or something.
He did
like
Ultimate
that.
Fighter season when Matt did it. Well, I think when the guys were doing the comeback, and if you won, you would have got. That's how Matt got that title shot.
I got you.
Was winning that show. Right. But him and Dean do the looking for a fight with Dana White.
Right. They're looking for new talent.
Dean, if you watched. And they talked to the coach. Hey, Dean, what's going on, coach? What would you do if it was your fighter?
Right.
So Dean's the guy whose voice you hear when he's telling you, he needs to do this or he needs to do that.
Right, he's got the game, the head game.
And he's funny as hell, Dean.
Yeah.
Dean's a trip. But anyway, so now I see Dean down in the lobby, so we're all hanging out. And then we go eat dinner. Next day, we eat dinner with Danaher. He came and met us.
Wow.
And then we all go... the next day, I ride over with them. Joe gives us the tour of, his spot.
The compound.
Yeah, and then, we get done with that, and he's like, yo, Rallo, you want to do it? And I go, do what? And he goes, the podcast. And I go, are you serious? And Matt's like, you better fucking do it, Rallo. So
he's like, I'm not going to be on there by myself.
Well, Dean's doing it too,
right,
So Joe goes, all I got to do is get Jamie to put up another seat and a camera, and we're on. So I go, fuck yeah, that's bucket list. I'm in.
Dude.
So when we did it, after it was done, Joe was like, this is the most fucking fun I've had on a podcast. We have to do this more often.
Yes.
So we've been on 3 times. Next week will be the 4th.
That's awesome. So fun.
And we're part of the MMA, he has, he does MMA content.
Right.
So our show's called Protect Your Neck. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be on with him the 13th.
So for
we have something in common with that crew, me and you and Jamie.
What's that?
Full Sail.
Holy shit, that's right. I forgot. Jamie
Me and Lepo
went to
Full Sail down in Florida, and
that's
Jamie
so
went to Full
fun.
Sail.
Jamie,
nice.
the producer, went to Full Sail.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is
that's what's crazy. His show, it's like him and Jamie.
Yeah,
He's got a person booking.
I know.
And then his bodyguards, I get to know most, he's consistent, so the guys, it's usually the same people all the time.
Yeah.
Phil, I think I've met before. But they're all like special ops guys and things.
Right,
and,
right.
When I was working, because Phil said the same thing. He's like, man, I know I ran into you somewhere. But,
well, similar to Rogan, we have a tight ship we run here. We only have one producer, and it's Wheel.
Yeah.
But, you know, the setup.
It's a crazy setup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and I'm
setup's
the
pretty
Jamie. I
really
do all
wild.
the editing.
Right.
And everything.
Well, much like, right. Yeah. A little bit different than Rogan. But real
Not
quick,
that much.
before we leave the competition part of it, I wanted to ask you, like, how's that headspace? Like, going into a match, you know, in an MMA environment.
Like, you know who, like Gilby Clark, who's like he was in Guns N'
Guns N'
Roses
Roses.
and Heart and some other couple bands. But Gilby asked me that. Like, I
Jesus
remember
Christ,
him
Gilby
asking
Clark
me,
asked you
because
that.
he was
It's
asking you like, you know, what's on your mind? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
and I
that's a
told him,
great
I said honestly, Gilby, I said, like, it's just like you're just going to do your job. I said, you're not scared. I go, like, you're nervous. You know, I go, but you're more nervous about letting, like, and for me personally, and you see it, like, if you look on YouTube, like, Donald Cerrone
Donald
has like
Cerrone.
the week leading up to the fight and the mind fuck of it. It's like the worst fight of all, besides cutting weight, is just the mental, like, to get there.
I guarantee it.
And
I
it's
wouldn't be able
really,
to handle it.
for me, it was more of you know, not wanting to let your people down, because everybody thinks you're the toughest. You're this,
Sure.
you know what I mean? And you know, everybody's looking up to you. You're the leader in your school, whatever else. So, like, you know, I never cared. Like, what's really, I mean, look, obviously somebody could die, but that's very, very, very minimal. Like, it has never happened in a sanctioned
Right.
MMA event. So, you know, that's not a concern. What's the worst? You get knocked out, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So really, it's your ego being bruised, and I wouldn't even care about the win or the loss. Like, as long as you went out there and you did your thing. If you get caught, you get caught. Like, anybody has balls enough to go in there and lay it on the line, you have to give them respect.
Absolutely.
You know, but I think the guys who really put too much pressure on themselves because they're worried about losing, and not like because they would lose, but because of the embarrassment or because of letting your people down. That's the hardest part. I think that's the worst thing. Like, I have seen fighters, and I'm talking dudes who are very talented, like could make it to the UFC, and they don't get out of the gym because they're so they're so in their head.
Right.
Like, they can wreck guys you watch win belts, you know, on
Right.
TV. But if you put them in a tournament, they're losing.
Where the lights are
you know
on.
what I mean?
Right.
It's so crazy. So I really believe, like, the mind is what really separates all the great athletes.
It has
I mean, you know,
to.
like Jordan, he wanted that ball, you know,
Right.
in the last second. Not everybody does. Somebody wants to give it to Jordan.
Right,
You know, so
right.
they're not the one that has to make or break what happens there.
Well, that one in particular, I
Yeah,
always
it's really
think
gotta be
about
intense.
because it's like, I mean, goddamn, especially like, I mean, you know, full disclosure, this is a little weird, but I had a colonoscopy not too long ago. Christ, for 2 months leading up to it, I mean, I lost sleep. I
Yeah,
couldn't think
he
about
did.
anything else. I was worried to death. And the whole time I kept saying shit to myself, like, it's not like I'm going to a fucking cage match or something. Like, what? But like, that was, it's like the
Dude,
idea.
I got a buddy.
You know,
I'm going to put him out there too, but Kurt Pellegrino. Kurt was a Henzo guy.
Yeah.
He was a Ricardo black belt. And Kurt fought in the UFC. He fought Mac Danzig.
I
And
remember
on, like-
Mac
all right,
Danzig.
well,
That
he
was my time. I was
fought,
watching.
He fought him like on King of the Cage, and he beat him. And then we were all fighting together on a card. It was on the WEC before the UFC had bought them.
Right.
And he was fighting, like, they were rematching on that card. So, like, this is no bullshit. Kurt, before that fight, like, he had all the Henzo guys in a locker room together. He's in his locker in the fetal position, crying,
Right.
nervous. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is wrong with you? You beat this guy already. He's went out there and beat him again. So he's back there in that state of mind, psyching himself all out, and then still goes out there and performs
It's
and wins.
amazing.
So you never know, like Vitor Belfort.
Vitor Belfort.
His first like real fight in the UFC, he knocked out Vanderlei Silva.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if it was his first. Wasn't his first fight in the UFC, but it was Vanderlei's first. And I'm thinking, wow, here's Vanderlei. People don't know how tough this guy is. Vitor winds up. He's in the back. Vanderlei's out there already, and he's not coming out. and people are like, what the hell's going on? Like, why is he doing this? Vanderlei's pissed. He thinks he's like icing him.
Right.
And Alvaro Romano, who's like he's a black belt in the Gracie Carlson system, and he was the founder of this Gymnastica Natural. It's like music. It's movement based. It's almost kind of yoga with movement for jiu-jitsu. And he was with them in the back, and he told us like the story to one time. He goes, yeah, you know, when Vitor was back there crying. He was scared. He didn't want to come out.
Wow.
And then he goes out there and literally machine guns Vanderlei's head from one side of the cage to the other in like 30 seconds.
And
or 40
Vanderlei's
seconds.
like nicknames like the
the
psychopath
axe
or something.
murderer.
Right?
The axe
Right,
murderer.
it's something horrific. I remember.
Yeah,
like,
he's a savage.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it just goes to show you that the biggest, toughest dudes, you know, Frank Mir did a big thing. It's a video out there about leading up to it.
well, fucking, he knocked it. He beat
he beat
Lesnar.
Lesnar.
I
Yeah,
mean,
leg locked him.
That was huge. I was so happy for him too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everybody that was back because that was the
Brock,
first one.
Brock.
Yeah.
But what he's a wrestler, but what was his style?
Brock,
yeah,
wrestler.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but what happened was he came from WWF or
Right.
WWE,
Yeah. Well,
and
yeah.
I do think he really gave it an honest shot
Yeah.
late
he
in
did.
life.
Like
and
Brock's
Right.
biggest problem, in my opinion, was himself. He was in charge of his camps, and he would bring his friends in to help him, and his friends are all wrestlers.
Sure.
And he's the biggest dog in the room. So when he says he's done, he's done.
Right.
So, like, if I was Brock, I would have had 50 boxers and kickboxers over there with him,
Right.
so he could try to develop what he's weakest
he could
at,
get uncomfortable.
and at least get comfortable enough where he can get in and use his wrestling to take guys down. If all you have is your wrestling and that's all they have to prepare for,
Right.
he did not take well to getting hit. Like, you can just watch any old video. He's
Right.
turning his head and stuff when guys are hitting him because it's not something he's used to.
Right.
So, like, you know, that I always thought that was his biggest mistake, was he wasn't doing jiu-jitsu enough. He was, you know, and when you're a big giant gorilla, you're going to have a tendency to work on that. Like, for me in my jiu-jitsu, Mark was a little guy, and it's like he would tell me, like, if he would start me on my back every time, you know, and he would be like, sweep, submit, or you go back on your back. Like, if I would wrestle up to my knees, like, he's like, you know, we already know you can do that. Back on your back. So I had to learn to
work on
develop
your
some kind of
weakness.
guard so that I would have one. And a lot of heavyweights, they really don't have them. All heavyweights are good on top, but they're not so good on their back.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me an advantage, you know, because I was a big guy that actually had a guard, you know. So
That's incredible.
You know, that's something that helps. And Mark was a big reason for that. Henzo, obviously, you know, being able to learn from Henzo's amazing. And my buddy Sean Alvarez, like, a lot of guys don't in the grappling world, they might, like, he was a second at Abu Dhabi a few times. He fought in the UFC. He was a champ in an organization called UCC, which is up in Canada, and that's like where St. Pierre came from, and, you know, Patrick Cote, like all the Canadian fighters. That's really the show they were coming from.
Cote,
Yeah,
I remember
him?
that name. Yeah.
Mark Hominick, like they all
Nice.
came from that organization.
That's awesome.
David Loiseau. You know, so that was you know, like we were saying, I'm just very fortunate to come up when I did, because I got to kind of be there from the beginning and meet all of those people.
It's fucking incredible.
Rare.
Yeah, it's so
It's
rare.
wild.
I always kind of think in my head it's pretty cool. Like, it was like you could say, "Oh, I was around for the beginning of the NFL." You know what I'm saying?
I'm serious.
That's what he
So-
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
a
that's
huge-
like for me,
wild.
it is cool, and that's kind of for me how like for my credibility. Like, that's where I came up. I competed against a bunch of those guys. Right. I know those guys. I've interacted with those guys. So, you know, I met Joe. I met Joe before he even got the Man Show from Kimmel and Adam Carolla. You know, like Stanhope and Joe Rogan did the Man Show.
Right,
after
and
that.
to be clear, he was a kickboxing legend when
yeah,
he
he's
was
a big-
like
he was a big-
18
yeah,
or
well,
17.
he was a,
I mean, yeah, like he was
kickboxing. I didn't know that.
kickboxing.
He was a Taekwondo national champ, and
national. Yeah,
yeah, he like said he like Olympics would have been the next step. He did kickbox competitively, fought in kickboxing. He has 2 black belts in jiu-jitsu. He has 1 in the gi under John Jack, which is where Eddie Bravo got his from too.
I love Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, John
too.
Jack Machado is a badass, like a very good, great jiu-jitsu guy. Literally only has like a pinky and his thumb on one of his hands.
Wow.
So his overhook game is sick. And John Jack is one of the best like ever. So great teacher. Right. So that's where they both got their gi from. And Joe has a no-gi black belt under Eddie, with his 10th planet
and
system.
For the novices, explain what that means in the gi and
okay, my fault. The like sport jiu-jitsu, and if anybody was a UFC fan at the time of Hoist, he wore his gi when he competed.
Right.
So in jiu-jitsu, in sport jiu-jitsu, it was in the gi. Like, of course, Americans and Valley Tudo's kind of where no gi came from and accelerated. So now no gi is almost, it's caught it, and they're either even, or I think it'll surpass it before it's all over.
And to be clear,
but they're 2 different styles.
Yeah,
yes.
because you can use
the
gi.
But there, I'd say
against
80% of the techniques, maybe more, transfer between the 2, because I don't need the handles, and if you can grab a sleeve, I can grab a wrist, for certain things. But what is missing is the collar chokes. Like, you can choke dudes with the collar, with the lapel, they wrap that shit up around your neck. So you don't have the clothing. And also, if I'm passing the guard, grabbing the pant legs really limits your ability to move your hips. And no gi, you better be able to body lock a dude, like control his hips, lock his legs down in order to advance. Where in the gi, I have the ability to pin some things using the clothing. So I always say the no-gi game is faster paced. There's more scrambling, and it's more linear. Like in no-gi, you're almost going to go through the guy's guard, and like you get like a guy, especially guys my size, you're pressure passing and knee cutting and things of that sort. Where in the gi, it's slower paced. It eliminates sweat and athletic ability because of the clothing. And I think it's maybe a more circular game because you can pin and move around, where in the out of the gi, it's you're not really, you can't hold a guy's ankles long enough to pin him down to the ground with them.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it like Hatfields and McCoys out there? Like, is it like there are guys that are like the no-gi game?
I think now it's probably getting to be a little more where, it's not a big deal. But back in the day,
if you're a traditionalist,
it was 100% big deal. Like it was, he don't wear the gi, he's not legit. That kind of stuff.
And I guess that presents a dichotomy because the business of UFC is no-gi, correct?
Yep.
So it's like if you aspire to be
no-gi, it's not allowed.
It's not allowed
anymore.
In
the
UFC.
gi itself, no, you can't wear the clothing.
Okay.
Right. So it's kind of like a dichotomy for the young or for the young people.
Well, I think, and like my personal opinion, I think anybody starting, the gi is the smartest place to start. Now, you're not going to tell wrestlers and things like that, but like the older schools, like Top Team, like American Top Team or Brazilian Top Team, they used to have you wear a gi for 6 months before they would let you take it off.
That's a good idea.
And Matt Serra, I don't know if he still does it, but he used to do that too. I think they couldn't even roll, only situationally for the first 6 months.
That's a good idea.
And that way, when you do actually roll, you have an idea of what you're supposed to do. Like new guys come in, they want to roll because it's fun, but they don't really know what they're doing. So that's how guys can get hurt. Guys grab shit and twist it. Somebody grabs a hold of something for you and you want to jump out of it, and maybe you shouldn't have jumped that way.
Right.
So, I think those are the biggest things. But the gi, I think, makes you more fundamentally sound. Like basic things, like, I'll just throw one out there. If you're in the guy's guard, posture is very important. Having proper posture. If you have proper posture, you pretty much eliminate arm bars and triangles.
Right. And if you're in their guard, you mean
their legs wrapped around.
Their legs
them.
are wrapped around.
So if I'm in the gi, the guy on bottom is looking to break your posture. Well, in both of them they are. But in the gi, I'm looking to bring you forward. I'm looking to grab your collar and pull you down.
Right.
So you really, you need to keep your posture.
Right.
In no gi, it's, I think, a little more because guys can, like, if you put me in something, I can almost like just explode kind of out of it because of the sweat. That's eliminated in the gi.
Right. The sweat's got to be
and
a
the friction.
bitch.
You know what I mean? Like if a guy had you in an arm bar and you're sweaty and you're in some shorts and a t-shirt, he's trying to put you in something, you yank your arm out. Now, if we're in the gi and the guy even has a hold of that sleeve, your arm's not going anywhere, so you better know how to defend that arm bar properly.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I tell people is if you start in the gi, I do believe you will be more fundamentally sound. You're going to learn your posture. You're going to learn base. You're going to learn hip control and movement. You're going to learn where to keep your arms. And like for myself, I was probably in the gi 4 years before I took it off, 3-4 solid. And
did it feel naked when you took it off, or were you kind of like you had done it on the side?
I liked it. I liked, just from wrestling and things like that. Yeah, right. It felt foreign more to have the gi on.
Yeah.
Right, I bet.
But when Abu Dhabi, which is like the no gi worlds, and MMA really started to get more mainstream, even Henzo and them weren't putting it on at that time, and that you go for 4 or 5 years without it and then put it back on, so for me, I gravitated in the no-gi side of things. I enjoy the no-gi. I'll throw a gi on occasion, but if I have a preference, it's I like the no-gi.
I bet. So let me ask you this. What's the biggest card or the biggest crowd you fought in front of, and how intimidating
Probably Mohegan Sun. Wasn't intimidating at all, honestly. Like when you come out, for me anyway, I don't really see anybody. I mean, the lights are in your face anyway when you're walking out. I don't know what they had. There was that WEC was, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Yeah, WEC was
Sun,
happening in the
but
early
you came
2000s.
Out, nobody, nothing, I don't know. Like,
I guess
didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, like.
I think even when you were in there, like I barely heard anybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're kind of zoned into your own thing and things are kind of moving more in slow motion.
Did you have music in your ears or
on the way out?
Yeah,
I did. I had I had a headset, like whatever song you were into at that time. You're listening to that on the way out. I remember they played a Rob Zombie song for me there, so that was good anyway. But we didn't get to give them music. I never seen that before. But at least they played a good guy
at least
for
they picked a good one. That would be,
But I had the headset on, and before I fought, I used to like watching an old movie called The 13th Warrior.
Oh yeah.
Antonio.
With
right.
Antonio.
I'm not even a big
Great
Banderas
movie,
fan myself, but that movie I thought was incredible.
Well, the director of Die Hard directed that, John McTiernan.
Really?
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah, dude, they was like some real life Vikings in there. It was amazing. That was a great
movie.
I thought.
Definitely.
Yeah, it
That's
was
so
total
funny.
accident too.
The 13th Warrior hypes up John Rallo.
Yeah, I used to
before
people say the
awesome.
gladiator or whatever.
Right.
But for me, I thought I just liked the whole brotherhood, and and
that's
they wound up
movie.
winning, and they all would recite that the prayer that they would do. It was.
I want to look up to make sure I'm
yeah,
right.
it was
No, you
gangster.
are.
I think I was to say, because I remember I really liked that movie a lot, and I'm like, this movie has no business being this good.
Yeah, it was
and
wild.
then John McTiernan, the director of Die Hard.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it was a very good. I thought it was a great movie, honestly.
That's so fun though that's your you dig that to come out to.
What do you think is the most efficient, like now in the UFC? Like, what is the most efficient fighting style?
I mean, there is no more fighting styles.
Everybody just goes all out.
Yeah, well, you need to be well-rounded in today's
everything.
sport. Yeah, like back in the day, it was style versus style. But even then, you saw it evolve.
Yep.
As soon as as soon as strikers started learning how to defend a takedown, then the pendulum started swinging that way.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Then the wrestlers, even then, like I said, when Maurice Smith beat Mark Coleman back in the day.
Right.
Coleman was like the hammer, ground and pound. He was a champ. Maurice Smith was a kickboxer that learned how to defend some takedowns or just survive because Coleman didn't really have jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He would just kind of get you down and maul you.
Right.
And Maurice was able to get up until he got tired and then get him stuck on his feet and then beat his ass, you know? So, and then once everybody saw Hoist too, everybody started training jiu-jitsu because at a minimum you had to kind of be aware of what was happening to you. So, there is no more style
it
versus
seemed like,
style.
It seemed like in the earlier game, like Koscheck era and Diego Sanchez era, it's like there were wrestlers that were dominating.
Yeah, like Koscheck was a great wrestler. I mean, he was an NCAA champ, but he also became a pretty proficient striker.
Right.
So.
And I do think even he recognized that you better have, like, if you don't have one pedigree
but
or the
I'm
other.
assuming there's still guys that are just like, fuck that. I'm just going to do what I do.
I don't know,
Or
really,
that
because you don't.
They can't
you're
get
not
to the
gonna-
league.
yeah, you're
Everybody
not gonna-
kind of learns everything.
You won't survive. Like, there's been world class boxing, kickboxers that have come over and got starked. Got strangled. Perea, like, that's what made him hot, was that he was a real good, kickboxer, Muay Thai guy, but at the same time, he's training with Glover Teixeira. Glover gave him his black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's training wrestling all the time. So, his preference is still to be on his feet, but he has to utilize those other skills to fight where he wants to fight.
Right.
Like Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell, everybody knows, was a big knockout artist. Chuck preferred to fight on his feet. Chuck was a Division I wrestler.
I was going to say.
So Chuck was able to defend takedowns because he was a wrestler.
Right.
He just happened to be a kickboxer too.
Yeah, if you watch those early UFCs, the reason Liddell went so far, I mean, he was a badass and all that, but his ground game was silently much better than anybody thought it was.
Definitely. You just thought he's a one dimension. I'm gonna
Right.
take this guy down, but he wrestled in college.
Right.
And so he understood defending a takedown and how to get up.
Right.
And and that, like, Hoist. I mean, Frank Shamrock probably was the first really well-rounded guy in the UFC. St. Pierre, that's what made George so amazing, was he's just so well-rounded.
Yeah, he took it like, he reminded me of Drago from Rocky IV, only nice. He was a nice guy, but it seems like he was the first, like, specimen of the sport where, like, if you really put, like, money into training, I don't even know if the guy comes from money, but it seems like he was a really finely trained athlete.
Yeah, definitely. Smart guy, too.
Right.
Very well-read, very disciplined.
Right.
He did start training because he was bullied.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's a guy who never wrestled formally at all.
Wow.
And in my opinion, was the best wrestler that's been in the UFC.
Most naturally.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought he was a wrestler.
Just look
at
his
no
weight
idea.
class at all. Like Koscheck, NCAA champ. He took him down a bunch. John Fitch,
right.
NCAA All-American, took him down at will.
John Fitch, I remember him.
Johnny Hendricks, NCAA champion, took him down easily. Matt Hughes, big wrestling background.
Right.
George took him down.
I remember I was so happy that George
beat
Matt Hughes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I had buddies in the Hughes era who were like, but I don't know.
A lot of people weren't fond of Matt.
I don't know why. It's like, I'm sure he's a...
I mean, there's a lot of guys said he was kind of like Tim Sylvia. I literally just saw this. He was on with Rampage on his podcast.
Is that right? Is Rampage?
And he was saying that Matt was an ass.
Is that right?
Yeah, he said, like, he goes, look, he's great, great fighter, this and that. He goes, but, he was like, he said he even asked Matt, because Matt was like shitty to him a lot and stuff. And he was like, hey, like, what's going on, man? Like, do you have a problem with me or something? He goes, yeah, I don't really like you.
Damn.
And Tim was like, is there anything I can do about that? And he's like, nah, I don't think so.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you saw on The Ultimate Fighter, Matt and him going at it.
Well, that's why. Yeah, I used to watch.
To this day, I don't think Matt likes him. He just has sympathy for him because of his situation.
Because of the situation, which I didn't even fucking know about until I saw that Dark Side of UFC thing or some shit. I had no idea that Matt had, that it went down like that.
Got
afterwards.
hit like by a train or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's got a brain injury. He's totally changed him. Like his mentality, and it's very strange. Yep. It's upsetting. But at least it wasn't the sport that did it.
Definitely not.
Right.
No, man, I don't know how it happened, but his truck stalled on a railroad track, and
a train.
I think maybe he was trying to beat the train, didn't get there in time. But whatever happened, he got hit by a train in his car, and he's lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
Like,
And then he kind of like turned zappy on his family and like
yeah. Well, he's got literally had a traumatic brain injury.
He's got,
so he seems to be hopefully getting it back together.
Right.
That will do it.
And then, am I wrong about this? Were you scheduled to be on a UFC card?
No, I was supposed to be on The Ultimate Fighter.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was supposed to be on the season that Rashad Evans won.
Wow. Okay, so that's early, right?
That
was 3 or 2?
I think it was 2.
Yeah.
I think it was 2. Binky was supposed to be on with me actually, so because they did heavyweights and they did like 155s or I think it was 55s, and yeah. So I did not try out for the show. Matt actually called me, Sarah, and said, "Hey, this guy's going to be calling you. I don't know if they want you to fight or if they're doing some show that they might want you to be on." He goes, but, whatever the case, like I told him, definitely I put in the word.
Once again, incredible.
Yeah.
Fucking
So I got a guy calls me. I remember his name's Wayne Sampson. So he calls me. I literally had a fight in Atlantic City I was training for, tore my ACL like about 3-4 weeks before that fight, had surgery, get this call. And like I'm all pumped up, thinking, "Cool, when's this going to happen?" And it was April, and the guy was like, all right, he's taking all my information. Can you be here in June?
Right.
And I go,
was it Vegas? Is that where?
Yeah. I go, I don't think that's possible. And he goes, what do you mean it's not possible? I go, I just had ACL surgery like 2 days ago. I'm literally braced up, you know what I mean? Sitting there. He goes, oh man. And I go, like, September or like October? Can we do it later? And he goes, dude, I'm so sorry. He goes, we film in June. It's like 6 weeks or whatever it is. He goes, it's going to air in August.
Right.
He goes, so, we'll just have to get you for the next one. And I'm like, fuck. And so I lost that opportunity. But,
it's still fucking great that they called you.
What was crazy was they having tryouts for like the lighter weights,
right?
And it was Dana and Matt Serra and Ray Longo because they did it at Henzo's. They call it the Blue Basement. Is like when Henzo first got in there, and Dana used to come and watch all the guys roll and hit mitts and whatever else. So I drove Binky up. Like, it was like we had to leave like 4 a.m. to get up there at like 7 a.m.
Right.
And we go in and I meet Dana, and I said to Dana, I go, look, man, I go, you guys called me to do the show. I go, you can see my leg. I had ACL surgery. I don't want you to think I'm a bitch. And he's like, dude, we already know you're not a bitch, or we would have never called you in the first place.
Nice.
So, I said, well, I just wanted you to know, and I got a buddy up here doing this, and and Binky did great. Binky's only holdup was his age, so we literally both could have been on the same show. He did make it as an alternate, and his roommate as an alternate, because back in the beginning they used to keep alternates there. If somebody got booted, they'd throw another guy in.
Oh, wow.
His roommate was Eddie Alvarez, who wound up being a UFC champ. Eddie did not make it onto the show either. So it just goes, Frankie Edgar did not make it onto the show.
Frankie Edgar didn't make it on the show?
So it just goes to show.
He coached the show at one point.
Exactly. So he wound up fighting his way there. And, and getting in.
It's like Saturday Night Live. Like if you don't make it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to make it.
Definitely not.
Right.
And now I think it's almost easier now because like Dana has his looking, it's the Contender Series going on, and it's every Tuesday. It's like a certain, I don't know how many weeks out of the year, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. And every Tuesday night, he brings in all these different prospects, and if they impress him, they get a contract.
Yeah, wow. I love that guy. Yeah. I mean, Dana White, like, over the years, he's a character, but I feel like as far as business and vision and shit like that,
I mean, can't argue with the results.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
And everybody knows him. Like all my interactions with him, nothing but a like stand-up guy.
Sure, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, and I've met him through Rogan and some other things, but when they came to Baltimore, like he really hooked me up. When they came here,
the Johnny Bones Jones.
Yeah,
fight,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, because I had to move my date so they could do the show.
I remember that. We're going to get to Shogun fights actually very soon because I want to bring that up. But I do remember that. It was like
it was in April.
Glover Teixeira and Johnny Bones Jones. And you had that was the second, or it wasn't that many.
Yeah, we didn't have
right?
tons of them in, you know,
Right. But I remember on the radio you mentioning to Scott or somebody on 98 Rock, you were like, we did it last year, and you were like, but I don't know whether you said you were going to reschedule or.
Well, yeah, we moved it so they could come in, you know.
Right.
But to Frank's credit, like Frank Remish, the GM of the arena, he told them no.
Wow.
You know, he's like, why would I do that? Like, I got a guy here. He's here twice a year. We make money. You guys are going to come in once, and I'm going to boot him off his date and mess his show up. Like, why would I do that? So, you know, they kept negotiating. And I had always told Frank, like, I would, if the UFC comes here,
right,
I would move.
Sure.
You know, I told him, as long as it's a pay-per-view.
Because
I said,
it's
do
good
not
for the
allow
sport.
them to do some bullshit fight night. Like, it has to be a pay-per-view. So, you know, that's what wound up happening. They came with, you know, first they did come with some fight nights, and Frank told them kiss off to that. Then they came with Jones, and he told them no because of me. And by the time it was done, he had, you know, Frank got, they agreed to allow me to advertise my show at their show. You will never advertise nothing at a UFC event.
Right.
You know, in the UFC magazine, they put out there, things to do when you're in Baltimore. Go to Ground Control and meet Henzo Gracie, black belt, John Rallo, and ask him how he got MMA legalized, you know, that kind of stuff. Then during the broadcast, Rogan, you know, we wouldn't even be here if not for my man, you know, John Rallo. He got the sport legalized here and blah, blah, blah. And during that week, they had me go, like, I had met Dana multiple times with Joe. I'd seen him at the weigh-ins. And Joe took me to him at the weigh-in there too and said, hey, this is my man, John. You know, he's the guy that moved off the date. And Dana's like, yeah, I met him. And Joe goes, no, this is my friend John. We've been boys for like 15 years, blah, blah. And Dana's like, all right, I got it.
Wow.
So Dana, like, asked me if there was anything he could do for me. And I said to him, I said, look, and I sold, they gave me a code like Shogun, so people could buy tickets before they went on sale. And we sold like 120, 130 grand worth of tickets in 24 hours.
Fucking
wow.
So I said to Dana, I go, look, I didn't ask for no money off of the, you know, I didn't ask for no group sales commissions.
Right.
I said, I'm not asking you for shit. I go, all I want is seats in your section, not over here. Not Joe gives me great seats.
Right.
I'm not talking about Joe's seats. I'm talking about your seats, so that people see that we have a relationship.
Sure.
And he was like, done.
Yeah.
Gave me his phone with his assistant on it. I gave her my name and all. And literally, when my wife and I got there, like, Dana and Lorenzo, before they, you know, Lorenzo sold it, they used to sit up, like, you know, right. You see them during the shows where they sit. I'm sitting behind Dana and Lorenzo, and they're at the cage. So we're first row in his section with, like, Plank, Ray Lewis,
right,
Arthur and Chandler Jones, John's brothers, and I knew Arthur because he trained at my Owings Mills school. Then on the other side of me was John's mom, dad. Wow. You know what I mean? So and when we got there, Dana goes, "Are these good enough for you?"
It's good publicity, baby.
Yeah,
that's great.
So he definitely, you know, hooked it up, and Joe obviously drove the point home. You know, with the, you know, saying it on, because people were blowing me up, going, "Rogan just shouted you out."
That's incredible.
You know, so I text Joe. I said, "I think I'm going to marry you." He goes, "I told you I was going to do it," which he did. And then he didn't know anybody in Baltimore, so he gave me like the 10 seats he had, and I just gave them to my people. Already bought tickets, but they sure didn't have front row seats.
They didn't have
you know,
tickets.
so they, you know, I gave them Joe's, and they got rid of their tickets, you know, when they went down there.
I mean, what
That's
an
great.
incredible fucking pedigree, baby! Like,
Yeah,
what a great run, great story. Now that brings us to, we're gonna, you know, so how old is Shogun Fights? How long has it been running?
2009 is the first show, I believe. 2008, I believe, is when it got legalized.
Right. I was going to say, we may have to touch on that first. So you were responsible for getting MMA legalized in Maryland.
Yes, correct.
And how what kind of process?
Throughout your world traveling,
you would be surprised at how, I don't want to say how easy it was,
right?
But we didn't get a ton of resistance. Like, I went, and my uncle, his name's Ron DeJulius, he was a big union guy, operating engineers, head of the them, head of the builders trades and all. When O'Malley was the governor, my uncle was like the Secretary of Labor and Industry or whatever,
right?
That position is. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, like I would like to get MMA legalized here. Do you think we can do it? Like what would the process be? So he goes, let me ask around, see what's up. So he started asking some people and he goes, John, he goes, I'm not getting nearly the pushback I thought I would. He goes, I think you got a good shot. He goes, let me put you on with a friend of mine, they're lobbyists. And he goes, they're more like hooked up in the city.
Right.
He goes, but let me put you on with this, another guy. So gentleman, Ed Hitchcock. And, I met him. He actually trained martial arts. He was into it. And he goes, look, I can help you get some, senators and people like that behind it. He goes, but we need an Annapolis presence because that's where you're going to go to get this passed.
Right.
So they put me on with, what is Tim's last name? I feel bad. Let me look it up. See if I find it. Because he deserves credit. Timothy Perry. And he was my guy in Annapolis, so we agreed on like a set price. This is it. Don't matter how much time you guys spend or whatever. Right. This is it. So Mr. Hitchcock got me Senator Joan Carter Conway, and she was the head of the Economic Ways and Means Committee, which is where you want to go. Like we went through the, you're missing out on this money, So
yeah, right. You're leaving
guys,
money on the
it's
table.
going to all these other states instead of here. And, so she came up to the gym, watched some fights on on tape. And she was like, "This seems like boxing to me. Obviously there's a little more going on, but what's the big deal? Why can't we do it here?"
Nice.
So I started telling her, what was up. And she said, I'm going to sponsor your bill. And then like Channel 45 or one of them was going to do a story on us. And a delegate, Kirill Resnick, he heard it. And he told his people to track me down. So they came, they wound up calling, asked us, they said they wanted to sponsor the bill on the House side. Now, he was a freshman delegate at the time, so he didn't really have much juice. Right. But the guy was great. Super passionate,
loyal.
Yeah, he was great. He was a big reason it got done. And then the next step, once I knew politically it was good, was I went to the athletic commission, and at the time Pat Pinella was the executive director. So I said to Pat, I want to get it legalized here. You tell me what you need to get it done. I'm not going to come in and they say, oh no. Like, you tell me what you want. Give me the list.
Right, give you the list.
And
you'll
then
check it off.
We'll figure it out. And my friend Nick Lembo, who's still on the New Jersey Athletic Control Board, he's their lawyer, wrote the unified rules back in the day. Jersey was like the first place that was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why Dana and Trump are so tight, because when the UFC couldn't go anywhere,
Right.
Trump was letting them do it.
Right, Trump back
in Atlantic City.
So is this just something that's always been banned?
I mean, well, it was a new
banned?
sport. It
Right.
was new. There was no real rules for it. So in order for it to be legal, the athletic commissions have to say we can adopt it. So in order for it to be done, there had to be a set of rules and regulations. You have to go and get your medicals and all that stuff done, just like anybody else.
It had to have weight classes.
So essentially, in Maryland, somebody just needed to
here's
do
what.
this.
Yeah, here's what it is. In Maryland, the problem is, and it's still a problem. They ought to fix this shit. In Jersey, it says that the Athletic Control Board can regulate combat sports.
Mm-hmm.
So all it is a regulation in New Jersey for the Athletic Commission to say, yeah, we can regulate this. We set up our rules and we're done.
Right.
Maryland, there are laws that have to be done. And the way the law was written in Maryland, you could do boxing, wrestling, and kickboxing events.
Right.
And there was nothing about mixed martial arts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's a lack of language.
You could put them all together.
Right. You could do all of them individually.
Why not?
Right.
So that was, what we went with.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick brought me down. He had all kinds of great information. Two of the doctors from New Jersey came down. The UFC sent Mark Ratner, who was their head regulatory guy, and him and Pat knew each other through boxing anyway. So he came and helped. And I mean, we got it through in one session, and I passed it through both the House and the Senate. So it, you know, it went real well.
Incredible. Now, John, when you were doing that, were you already in your mind thinking you were going to be doing these events, or were you just thinking for UFC?
Definitely,
you were doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I was doing it for me, my guys,
the sport.
everybody
Well, yeah,
down here.
I mean, you, not yourself. As you as in, I'm going to do this. And,
Right.
100%. Like I'm going to do it. I'm going to do I'm going to do shows. But at the same time, I never had the opportunity to fight in my hometown.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Even Binky, like at the end, he got to fight at his hometown because of Shogun. But, you know, Binky's traveling all over the country, going to fight everywhere. You're always the guy coming in, you know what I mean? Instead of the guy who's the favorite. You know?
Right.
So it, you know, it was for me, like, why... I don't understand. Like, why does this money go to Virginia, go to D.C., go to Jersey, like goes everywhere but here?
Right.
Even D.C. was legalized it. So I think we were the 37th state maybe that did it. And, you know, but it went
well, good for you, man.
it went well. We got it done. And like the only other, like if you like a story was the law, you know, gets basically passed, and then they do the bill signing.
Right.
And then it officially, like I got invited to the bill signing and all. It doesn't go into effect until like, I don't know, September or something like that. So when the law was able to go into effect, I'm down the athletic commission, and Pat tells me that, you know, hey, I just want you to know, you know, now it's official and we can do events. I know your date's in October, but if somebody wants to do one before you, then, you know, we're impartial. Like, we don't have no say over that. And I said, well, nobody's doing one before me.
Right.
And he's like, well, you know, and I go, well, nothing. You know, I go, I fucking got it legalized.
Right.
I'm doing the first fucking show, and that's it.
Right.
And he's like, you know, well, you know, we can't. And I go, like, well, whatever. I go, what happens if you don't have any referees? And he's like, well, what? You know, and I said, hypothetically speaking, because he was getting refs through my people.
Right.
I was like, what if you don't have any referees for your event? And he's going, well, I should hope you wouldn't do that. And I go, well, you know, okay.
He said, I should hope you do right by me.
Hypothetically speaking. So the next day, I get a call from exactly who I knew was going to try to do a show, and it was the Wagners from Michael's 8th Avenue. And Scott, his son, calls me and goes, hey, John, you know, my dad and I, we were thinking of having a show in September. And I go, you're not having a show, Scott. And he's going, he goes, well, you know, my dad was, you know, we'll call it John Rallo's. I said, I don't give a fuck what you call it.
Right.
I go, you're not having the show. I go, I fucking did all the heavy lifting. I spent the fucking money. I go, the first show is going to be at the arena and not your little shit 1,000-person hall. It's not happening. And he's going, well, you know, my dad, this and that. I said, I don't give a fuck about you or your dad. I said, here's the deal. I go, you want to wait till my show's over? I'll be happy to help you any way I can. You want to try to go before me? I will do everything in my power to fuck your shit up.
Right.
And he's like, you know, oh, all right.
He
So
said, well,
goes, and then I get a call the next day. Hey, my dad wants to have lunch. His father used to be a senator. So I'm like, all right, you know, whatever. So I go and meet him at, was it G&M? Is that the big crab cake spot on that side of town?
Good crab cakes.
Yep.
So we go, and we're sitting down, and, you know, Mr. Wagner's telling me how they've been promoting for so long, and they were doing all this work in the background and all this other shit. And when he gets done, I go, Mr. Wagner, I go, look, I've been told you're a nice man. You know what I mean? Said, I have no problem with you. I go, but here's the deal. I go, you did shit. I got it legalized. I go, did you give me any money for any of this lobby shit that went down?
Right.
No, you didn't. I go, how long have you been promoting events?
Right.
I said, you were a senator. I go, did you ever get it legalized so you could do shows here? No, you didn't. I go, so here's the fucking deal. I go, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told your son. I'm doing the first fucking show. If you want to wait, I'll be happy to help you.
Right.
If you try to go before me, I'm going to shut your shit down.
Right.
You know, I go, it's as simple as that. I go, 2 people sitting at this table one of us got it put through in one session.
Right.
I go, so I must have some fucking juice.
Well, and why? Like, if
Just being
if he's
assholes.
seeing
You know
your
what I mean?
passion about it, why are they
Because
pushing
he just wants
like
to jump
that?
on it.
Well,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Just
why not?
we'll be the
Opportunity,
first.
man.
We'll be
Yeah.
the first.
Right.
So
He was a
the
senator.
next day, Scott calls
lot
me
of
up and he
next
goes,
That's a
yeah, right.
sequence of
His
events.
dad goes, Scott goes, hey, my dad really likes you. He said we're going to wait until your show's over. And then
He
we'll
said,
do
I
ours."
guarantee.
So with all that being said, how did the first show go?
It was amazing. Probably did like almost 8,000 people
Yeah.
That's awesome.
down at the arena. Yeah, Frank was blown away. You know, like in how we got to do business. He was like really had a guy hit me up about
Frank
an event.
is
Frank
the-
Remish is the GM of the arena.
Right, okay.
So you know, he called me up about doing shows down there, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I go, this place is too fucking big. I go, you know, we ain't doing it here. It's too big. You know, I go, like I said, I don't know if you've ever been to an event. I go, but there's like an electricity in the air. And I have to try to recreate that.
Yeah.
I go, and I can't recreate it. If I put 5,000 people in this 15,000 seat place, it's going to look like shit.
Right.
And he's going, nah, I'm telling you, we can like bring this curtain down here. We can do this. And he goes, how many people do you think you're going to get? And I said, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000.
Right.
I go, and that's a giant regional show. And he goes, all right. So he told me later on, that's when he knew he wanted to do business with me. He said, because I knew you were honest.
Right.
He said, every asshole sits on the other side of this desk when I ask him that question. We're going to sell it out. We're going to sell it out.
Right.
You know, so he goes, he literally, I mean, he came after me for a while before he broke me down, and I finally said yes. And because he gave me a really good deal. And, you know, and now we're super tight. Like, I mean, we're like brothers. He's awesome. Like, he's tell you what kind of guy he is. He told the UFC to kiss off until they gave me some,
that's incredible.
gave me
Like,
some love. Like, that's what kind. And look, he had all intentions of getting
Sure.
with them,
Right.
but he made sure he took care of me while he brought them in, because
Yeah.
I had always told him, I will never, you know, I told him I would never stand in the way if the UFC's coming here, because like you said, it's great for the sport. It's great.
Sure.
Just the money, you know what I mean, that
Sure,
they
the
make
city.
that whole weekend and everything was,
Absolutely.
you know, was ridiculous. I thought they said it I don't know, put like it was 25 or 30 million into the city.
I think
in
at
a
the
weekend.
time, yeah, and it was a huge sale, like, because
they sold out in like 15 minutes.
Bones
Yeah.
Jones was on fire
Yeah,
at the time.
it sold out quickly.
Yeah.
Dana
incredible.
Dana loved it because people were there for like 7 o'clock on. I think Shogun has them trained because everybody would get there early for the food and all that shit
Right,
that we used to
right.
have there.
Well, and also there are no bad fights nowadays. It seems so. It's like even if it's like boxing, you get
I mean, you can get some shitty ones
Yeah.
too.
There are shitty
I
fights.
mean, there's just in boxing. The problem is there's only one thing to do.
Right.
So if the guys can't figure each other out, or you get two counter fighters, or you get two heavyweights and they're just leaning on each other. In MMA, you can get punched, you can get kicked, you can get kneed, you can get elbowed, you can
Right.
get slammed, you can get choked, you can have a joint lock. You know,
it just seems like
there's
bang for
a
your
billion different ways to win.
as far as like bouts themselves. There's like usually
Well, that's different too.
10
Yeah, exactly.
to 3. It's like 3 boxing matches versus
That's
12.
look, there could be 6 or
Right.
8 boxing matches, but you don't see none of them
Right.
because they're on early. It's all
Right.
guys. It's usually guys you have never heard of.
Right.
And with the, you know, Dana and them are smart enough. Look, you miss a few unless you're like a deep fan. There's some early prelims and stuff that they don't, you know, that really don't get aired.
Right.
You have to, you know, go into ESPN or Fight
Right.
Pass
There's
to
the
look at
internet
them.
pre-pre.
Yeah,
Or
you
the
know,
prelim
right,
to the
right.
prelim.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
It's like
I
a
know, I know.
prelim and shit. So then they have the prelims, you know, the preliminary card, which you would watch, and they may air that on regular ESPN or whatever, and then the pay-per-view card would come on
Right.
after that, you know.
Glover Teixeira versus Johnny Bones Jones.
Yep.
I still have the
If Phil
program
Davis
for that.
fought Rumble on that card, like that was a good card.
Yeah, Walt went, a guy I work with, and he gave me his booklet or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
from
the program.
Yeah, I got
Nice.
it. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's
cool.
wonderful.
That's cool.
So you did Gangbusters, the first Shogun fights, and you had mentioned Dan Bergliotta.
Mergliotta,
Bergliotta,
yeah,
I
the
love
ref.
that. Cat, there any other, like, did he ref?
Him and Mario were the two refs. Him and Mario Yamasaki.
Wow, Mario Yamasaki. Yeah, I
so
love
they
it.
had,
Awesome.
so you know, like that added some cachet to
Sure.
it because there were two guys that fans were used to seeing on the UFC, and I knew Mario. I did my first big gi tournament that I won. Mario put on down in Virginia.
Wow.
You know, so I knew him early on in my career. You know, Dan, like I said, met him like, you know, my first amateur fight was on his first, like, I think it was called like Bama Fights or something like that. He used to do up in Bayonne, New Jersey, in like a high school gymnasium. You know what I mean?
It's so wild because it's like worlds like that. Like, I'm a drummer, totally different fucking caliber, don't get me wrong, but the drumming world is small.
Yeah,
like, it's
definitely.
not as big as you think, and
Right.
it's the truth with the MMA world.
Yeah, same.
it
I think
appears.
similar
It's
thing.
like,
You know, it's like
you know.
back in the day when tap out was a
Tap out.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like if
I
you saw a
remember.
guy with a tap out shirt, you knew he trained. you
Yeah,
know?
right.
And then when it got mainstream, like none of the fighters were wearing it.
Right,
anymore,
they're like,
you know,
I don't
because
want that
It was
corporate
in J.C.
sellout.
Penney's and everywhere. Hey, like I always look at that stuff as good for the sport. Like it's
is.
just making it mainstream, so it puts more eyes on it. It's a reason the schools do well because parents are bringing their kids in to train with you, and you know, you got law enforcement guys come and train, regular people come to train, so it's pretty. I think it's pretty cool, and
Right.
I'm mainly at the Rosedale gym because I'm from, you know, that area, that side of town, and I grew up in the city, and I moved out to like my dad, when we moved from the city, bought a house in Barrington on Philadelphia Road,
Yeah.
like right by the what is that, Rossville technically
Yep.
it's called there, but you know, so I just chose to stay here because it's kind of a way to give back to the community. You know, it's my people, you know,
Yeah,
I came
yeah.
up with, and you know, I make, like, obviously could be more profitable if I wanted to open my spot in Hunt Valley. We do have one out there, but you know, it's a student has the gym,
Right.
and but you know, I just enjoy, you know, being on in my hood, and kind of Binky's the same. It's how we kind of both give back, you know, to the community.
I live over in Middle River.
Oh, all right, yeah, dude, that's where I'm at, Middle River.
Let me ask you, this is a little bit of a tangent, but do you, and we don't judge here, what's your spirit, like, do you associate jiu-jitsu or any of this stuff with spiritualism at all?
Well, I'm 100% Italian. Well, my DNA said not. I'm like
Ain't that a
60
bitch?
or 70%.
I hate
think.
this fucking DNA.
It's pretty funny.
All
But you know, so I was raised Roman Catholic. You know,
Right.
I went to Our Lady of Fatima. My dad, you know, he went there. So me
Right.
and my brothers all went there. But I don't. Here's what I think of what jiu-jitsu did for me. Like, I don't know, like, of it being spiritual, but I always tell people that if you really get bit by the bug, it becomes a lifestyle.
Right.
So, you know, I think you carry yourself different. Obviously you have more confidence, like knowing, you know, what you can do.
Right.
I do think that there's a difference between looking in shape and being in shape.
Yeah.
So I looked like I was in shape even when you're playing football and all. You get a break after every play.
Right.
And this stuff, like, you better be in shape or you're going to get your ass kicked,
Right.
basically. So, you know, it's a different level of conditioning. And I think in order to be in that kind of condition, you have to make the lifestyle changes.
Right.
I also think that, you know, like fucking Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. Right. So if, like, my buddy Sean, took him to a football game one time, Alvarez referenced earlier, and he said to me, he goes, "How many people in the stadium?" I don't know, 70,000, I think it holds. And he goes, "So how's it feel to know one by one you could beat the shit out of everybody here?" And I'm like, well, I never really thought about it like that. And he goes, well, that's how it is.
Right.
And he goes, pretty powerful feeling, you know? And he goes, his coach, Sean, came up here, but then he went to Abu Dhabi. He lived in Abu Dhabi before it was Abu Dhabi.
Right.
Because he met one of the princes, went to school in San Diego. he was his personal trainer.
What is it with you fuckers?
Yeah, it's
you guys
all
are all
locked up
meeting
on
kings
Yeah,
and
you
shit.
didn't say, dude. Henzo's in with the royal family, but anyway, Sean was his personal trainer, and the prince loved jiu-jitsu. He was training with a guy named Nelson Montero. After he's ready to graduate, he tells them both who he is and says, I want to start this in my country.
Wow.
Come out here. And Sean, you can come too if you want to be my trainer. Sean started doing well in jiu-jitsu. The prince was like, I can get anybody to be my trainer. Why don't you stay here and be one of my fighters? I'll keep paying you. Whenever you fight, you can keep your money. So he lived out there for 5 years and got trained. The prince was bringing in Russian wrestlers and judo guys
World
and
class
jiu-jitsu guys. And now, like, people don't even know. If anybody paid attention at all, when Trump went to Abu Dhabi, they took him into an area where it was like 100 people training jiu-jitsu and told him, this is our national sport. They make it so it's gym class over there. Like Henzo said, I got like 500 Brazilians over here teaching now. They're all over there teaching because it's like Japan, and they're like in gym class. I don't know if it's still this way, but they used to have judo as their phys ed.
Huh.
So you learn self-defense and you get in shape, and you're getting some discipline from martial arts. Well, in Abu Dhabi, it's jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Right. Well, look, so the reason I bring up spiritualism, and I'm not going to hover on this too long, but I'm a drummer, as I mentioned before, and I truly believe that there is something to rhythm and the dawn of man and following the rhythm. Okay, now many drummers that I know have gone on to become jiu-jitsu cats.
Tons of musicians.
And
a lot of guys are in it.
And I think it's the same scratch. It's the same itch that needs to be scratched. When you become a drummer, you become obsessed with it. The shapes, all like the triangle, like all of that stuff. You roll, you do the roll, you're constantly rolling with people because you're trying to feel rhythms and learn the rhythm.
I mean, definitely there's a lot of that. And and even like my old boxing coach, Robert Crawford, his name was, he used to like EDM music and the guys, a lot of guys hated it, but he liked that.
Four on the floor.
You know what I mean?
It's
for the
on
beat,
the floor.
like when you're jumping rope or you're shadowing.
Right.
So it gives you like almost like what is that?
A metronome.
The metronome.
Yeah. Well, and to the point, like you said to where Davis about how like nowadays it's gone from style versus style to you need to know a little bit of everything.
Now it's mixed martial artists versus mixed martial artists.
Well, it's the same thing in the drum world. Back in the day, you'd have traditional grip drummers. You'd have guys that did Moeller technique versus George Stone technique. You had all these different things. But now, if you don't know a bit of all of them, you're not a drum. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, but I find it very fascinating, and I love spiritualism, so that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I just don't know if in the world,
like I'm all about a higher power. I mean, I believe in God and all that stuff, personally. But I'm the type of guy too. I believe what you want to believe.
Sure.
Don't push it on other people. You know what I mean? Like that's when things get uncomfortable, when, if you start trying to put your ways on people.
Sure. Well, that's why I kind of, and whenever I bring it up, I'm always we don't judge anybody.
Give them the disqualifier.
Right. Because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But
nah,
I like
some
to
guys
bring it
aren't,
up.
some guys aren't into it at all,
Right.
But I think I was brought up in that fashion, especially as a kid. You came up, I had religion every morning for 8 years, while you were going to Catholic school. So,
and I think the older you get, the more you realize that regardless of, the extent of the belief, you have to acknowledge it does make for a good base. It seems.
Yeah, well, I think that's
for a good moral.
I think there you go.
Base.
That's really what I think.
Right.
Like religion is about. It seems like it's making a comeback with the kids today, to be honest with you. But that's what I think. It gives you at least it gives you some moral compass.
Right.
To kind of
be kind
you start
to
somewhere
others.
And then you kind of figure out where
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Like you don't have to get too into it, but like be kind to others, just the general principles of them. You know
so
what I mean?
one thing I wanted to add, you said like Maryland was the 37th state you think they got legalized.
think so.
Is it all 50 now? Or
I'm pretty sure it's everywhere now.
And is there like a U everywhere?
There's me's all over the place. Like, I don't know how many of them now. The UFC took it upon themselves to go into some states and try to get it done.
Right.
New York, I think, was the last to get it done. And New York really wasn't happening just because of corruption. Like the guys in jail now that was stopping it. It was a union thing. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's legal everywhere now. You know, and like for fighters, like, you know, some people don't know, but when the guys fight, they have to get licensed. And in order to get licensed, you have medicals. Now, excuse me, the medical tests can vary from state to state. But like if you're fighting here, you have to get blood work done, and they test for Hep C, Hep B, surface antigen, and then HIV, obviously. They do dilated eye exam. You have to see an ophthalmologist. You can't see an optometrist. They want a surgeon to look at your eyes and make sure no retinas are detached or anything like that. I think you only have to have 2200 vision to fight, so they're giving you a pretty big leeway. You know, but
you just have to see something.
And you know, then they have to get a physical done. If the guys, and they do a neurological test, but it's not like a CAT scan or a brain MRI. They do it physically. Like I think the guy gives them some words. They have to remember them. They got to do some coordination stuff. They test them for, you know, and that's done at the weigh-ins when they do that. Now, once a guy gets 37 or older, I'm trying to push the age to 40, just because people nowadays are just in better shape.
I agree.
As they get older.
I talk about that all the time. People look younger. People,
I mean, look, like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'll be 57 in December.
I'll be 50 next month.
You know? So you know, so I think that all you know, obviously makes a difference, but here at 37 right now is the way the regs are written. If they're not familiar with the guy, if he doesn't have like an exception from the commission, they have to get like a CAT scan or a brain MRI done to make sure there's nothing going on there. And sometimes they, like I've seen way back, haven't done it, I haven't had too many guys do it, but they could stress test you. Like you have to go make sure your heart's straight.
What about like mental health wise? Do they do anything with that? Like,
no. Like, I mean, like, I guess if somebody was acting nuts, you'd have to disclose if you're taking any medications and things like that. But, yeah, no, I don't think there's any, like, you know, as far as psychiatric testing. They're going to find that out in the wherever you're coaching. You know what I mean? If the guy's a kook, he's not going to last in the gym, you know, a long time.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I mean, I guess people slip through the cracks that make it to that level that are officially like nutty. It happens, but it's got to be rare because, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think in the sport, I mean, you see some crazy guys, you know, sometimes you don't, is it an act? Like Sean Strickland, he's a nut.
Oh my gosh, that guy.
Is he acting sometimes? Is he hamming it up for the camera? Where guys like, you know, Nick Diaz, combination of how many times has this guy been hit, he's definitely got something going on.
He's the real deal.
BJ Penn right now, BJ's going through it.
Is that right?
Oh my God, like I don't know, like I've heard rumors of drug use, and then I'm hearing that's not the case. But he's literally, you can go on his Instagram and shit. Like he's been locked up like 3 or 4 times now, where he's saying like his mom's been replaced, like his somebody, like they're trying to steal his money.
Is he on meth?
Like it's the people that was the rumor, but I know people that are in Hawaii that say it's not the case. So I like it, you know, is it just CTE? You know what I mean with BJ at this point? Like he did go through some real battles. You know, like it's pretty. You know, but it's pretty disappointing. Like whenever I see it, I'm like, God Almighty, I hope somebody can get that guy some help. Like Matt had him on his podcast, and before he was on with Matt was like, man, I'm so afraid. Like he goes, I mean, I talked to BJ. He was like, and you know, it was great. Everything was going good, and then all of a sudden, like he started getting into the stuff about his mom being replaced and all this other shit. He goes, he's coming on the podcast like in a week. He goes,
what do you do
I don't want to put him out there saying crazy shit. Like I want him to look good. And fortunately, Matt basically just kept him, you know, the questions and everything on old fights and, you know, their time in the UFC.
Right.
And it was like, there was a great podcast. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Everything went great, but Matt was really concerned because he was like, I don't want to cut him off, but at the same time, like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
show him in a bad light either, you know?
Right. That's upsetting because the prodigy BJ Penn came out of nowhere in my eyes, and I guess in anybody's eyes.
BJ was a savage.
All of a sudden, he was fucking rocking.
Yeah, well, he was known in the jiu-jitsu world.
That's what I mean. Like, I was just getting into the sport, watching it. Of course, I'm a fucking
BJ got his black belt in 3 years, and he won the worlds in 3 years.
Wow,
the prodigy.
First American. That's why they called him the prodigy. First American to win the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu World Championship in a gi as a black belt. And the rap
on him too was he had a hell of a rubber guard or something. Like,
he was super flexible. Yeah, like he could put his feet behind his head, but he also had hands. Like, BJ was well rounded. It's one of the things that made him so good. And anybody that knows any Hawaiians or Polynesians in general, they're always ready to throw down. They're the nicest people you ever meet, but they're ready to scrap at any time.
There was another Hawaiian cat that won season 3, and he was a tall guy, Kendall. Kendall
the hell
Grove?
Was his name? I think it was Kendall Grove. He was like
Grove,
6'5",
tall guy,
skinny, and he, at like 170 or something.
Yeah, but I mean, he really
was a tough
fucking
kid.
Great. But I don't think he ever extended much past the show.
He won some, lost some. But yeah, he's another.
But he was Hawaiian. I remember thinking around
Max
that
Holloway.
time.
You know,
is Max Holloway Hawaiian?
Yeah, he's Hawaiian.
I didn't realize that. That's why he's a small badass.
Yeah.
And him, actually, it's funny. I got a friend of mine of ours, Scotty B, owns this burger joint in Florida called Charm City Burgers.
Nice.
And it's apparently right near.
There's not one in Baltimore though.
It's weird, yeah.
Charm City Burgers took the name down there.
But it's weird. It's right near Dustin Poirier's gym.
Yeah, top team.
Top team, and they come to Charm City Burgers all the time.
Coconut Creek's where the gym is.
That's where. Well, so Poirier comes to Charm City Burger all the time, and I guess Poirier just fought. Did he just fight Max Holloway?
He did. He just lost
for his retirement fight.
He beat Max twice. Like, everybody was like, we're not even interested in seeing it a third time, and then Max wound up beating him.
I was gonna say, I think it was a hell of a run.
Yeah.
And
Dustin had a great career.
I love that guy. Yeah, he was another one. I saw him in that documentary many years earlier. He was like three cats.
Louisiana.
Yeah, it was like three cats in a documentary. He was one of those three guys. And then years later, I'm going, is this fucking the guy from the... And it was, you know. But anyway, the point of the story was that our friend... for Dustin Poirier made the Poirier retirement burger a special last week.
I thought I saw that on the menu. I thought I did. Did they show that?
Well, he put it up
they
on
always,
Facebook.
They always put it out there when they have a new burger.
He put it up on Facebook, and it was all over my feed. I
thought I saw it.
That's awesome.
But so he was. But that's fun. You mentioned Max Holloway, and I was like, oh shit, I think he just fought.
Yeah, super nice guy, Max. Man, very nice. I've met him on several occasions. He did he had a couple guys fight on Shogun, and he cornered those guys.
Oh, nice.
He did a seminar for us out at the Owings Mills gym, which everybody loved. He popped in the Ground Control when he had a guy fighting on before, just popped in to say what's up to people. So,
is he around here or
no? He just came. I had a guy on the card. The coaches come with the guys when they fight. So, he was in town, so he came and did it.
That's awesome, man. I love that shit.
Yeah, my friend was his manager for a long time. So a couple times when I was at his house, Max was came to town and popped in. Had his son with him the one time. He's like a great dad. Like, he's with his son all the time.
That's fucking crazy, isn't it? When you see these killers and yet they're great. Although I'm sure you probably, anyway.
You know what? Like, I always tell people, normally the fighters are probably the nicest guys you'll meet because they don't have anything to prove to anybody.
Yeah.
And I used to always joke to people look, a mechanic does not go home and work on cars.
Right.
Probably has somebody else do his car shit because he's on turning wrenches all day. So when you're in the gym strangling each other all day and hitting each other all day, when you go out, the last thing you are trying to do is get yourself into any drama.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Plus, what's going to happen. It's going the wrong way for you. So, just don't...
it's going the wrong way for me. It's not going the wrong way for you.
No, so just, fucking relax.
So while we're talking about Forrest Gump blessed lives, you running into just incredible situations left and right throughout your life, on your resume, you were Tommy Lee's bodyguard.
Yep.
And is that the only bodyguard gig you've done, or?
I was with him the longest.
Okay.
You know, I did some short things too. I got to work with Sylvester Stallone, probably the biggest name.
Nice.
That's fun.
You know, but I did work with Drake before. Went out at a Sundance Film Festival.
Wow.
You know, but Tommy's the guy I was with the longest. Like I toured with Tommy and all that kind of stuff. Like the nicest guy. He's. Knock on wood, all the guys were great. Like I didn't have any jerk offs, you know, that I worked for at all. You know, everybody was cool. Everybody treated you good.
When you're on tour with Tommy Lee,
Vanilla Ice was a super nice guy.
I can see that.
I want Rob Van Winkle on the pod.
Nicest dude. Like with fans, like that guy would interact with everybody. Like I had to keep him moving. You know what I mean? But he'd do the selfies for him if he had to.
He seems like the real
he really
deal.
was a gracious guy. You know, I thought.
But I mean, when you were with Tommy Lee, he wasn't still like a loose cannon.
I mean, like
he's sober.
No, Tommy wasn't sober when I was with him. No. Tommy was, I would say, probably stepped back a little bit. But yeah, I seen him in some situations, and in that group at the time, Nikki was sober.
Right.
Mick, I believe, was sober, and Mick, like, even if he wasn't, like, Mick, because of his health and stuff, you know, Chris or Rhino was his bodyguard at the time. I think he's with Post Malone.
Do you
now.
know these guys, Rhino and shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Just ask.
Yeah, I think he's with Post Malone, I think now.
All right.
But you know, Mick, very, like, you know, good guy, and like, I liked Mick. He was pretty funny. Nikki was cool. Nikki's kind of the boss of the band, really, because he's the one who writes pretty much all the songs.
Right.
Vince was sober on one Europe tour that we did, and I will tell you that fucking amazing when he's sober.
Right.
And when he wasn't so amazing. You know, so Tommy, like, I mean, it wasn't like Tommy was just a fucking mess everywhere we went.
Right,
If he felt like partying, he partied. I think Tommy was pretty smart with that shit. Like, you know, like, he had a Jaeger machine, and
this was post Pam Anderson, right? So he had been through
I worked with Pam and the kids, you know, like he still, you know, he still was like, they're never going to not be, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I just didn't know
he's
if
with
this
Brittany
was...
now, and he's happy.
Gotcha.
But they got kids together,
right?
You know, so you know, it's your fucking baby daddy. You two are going to have to deal with each other. Now that the kids are older, probably not so much. But you know, when I was with Tommy, Brandon and Dylan were little. You know, 7, 10. You know what I mean? So you know, they I mean, but yeah, everybody was cool. You know, and he got, like, him and Pam, I didn't see them beef. Tommy was a nice guy. Tommy is like a big kid.
He seems that way in interviews.
He's happy, fucking rad dude, you know.
Right.
You know, awesome. Like, he's you know, he's like, you almost have to figure he's been in Motley Crue since he's 17.
Right.
So
that's who he is.
You know
he's
what I mean? Like, he never really grew up.
Right.
You know, and always was super cool.
And he's got a real cool sister, right?
Yeah, his sister was married to the drummer in the Scorpions. So like, and I met her when we were on tour one time, and the first time I met her was Gods of Rock, I think, in like Milan.
Wow.
And the Scorpions were performing, and that's when, this is my sister, you know, she's married to whatever, Klaus and the band, you know, fucking German guys. But, you know, they were, you know, but yeah, she was married to the drummer from the Scorpions when I was around.
So, John, if you're there, you're rocking with Tommy Lee, it's a concert night, right? Are you backstage? Are you watching him fucking drum? I mean, I guess that's irresponsible, but you know.
Well, the way we posted up, I was usually behind, like, the fucking the speakers,
Big
the fucking
rack
big giant
speakers,
racks
right,
they
right.
have. We would stand back there. His like the drum tech, they're usually like right close by, because
Right.
anything that goes wrong, they're handing them fucking sticks if
Right,
he's busting
right.
sticks or whatever. But yeah, so I would chill like on the side of the stage.
That's
we're all
incredible,
on radio, and like before the show, after sound check or whatever, you're at catering or whatever's going on, but you got to get him. He's got to be where he needs to be. When he's in his dressing room, you're outside the dressing room.
Right,
or,
right.
just depending on what's going on, I could be inside the dressing room. But yeah, you're with them. And then when it's time for the band to go on, we walk them onto the stage.
That's
like
fucking
backstage. Awesome. And then, they come out, and then you go and get to wherever you guys are going to be stationed.
Right.
Two guys here, one's over here. And, Rhino would be on Mick's side. Chemo would be on Nikki's side, and I would usually be on like me and Chemo may be on the same side, but I would lag back because Tommy, was in the back there with the drums.
Right.
But then if he would always get up, and go out and do the Jaeger thing.
Right.
And everybody
right.
does that, or show us your fucking titties,
Right.
Whatever he was doing. So if he walks up to the front of that stage, like you're with him, like you're basically standing next to him. If he was to go in that crowd, you're in the crowd.
Holy
with
shit.
him.
Are you like black suit, black tie?
No, I don't even. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Like I had a guy we worked with for 2 weeks. They wanted me to do the tour, and I wouldn't because they wanted you to wear a suit and shit.
Right.
Like to me, like I personally think wearing suits is bullshit because, like in jiu-jitsu, the collars. I can choke your ass out with that.
Right.
You got a tie on. It better be a breakaway tie because that's a weapon.
Right.
So why would I want to wear something that is restrictive and can be used against me, as a fucking weapon? No, thank you.
Right.
But we wore all black, but it was really, I mainly just had like black short sleeve button down, black jeans, black, like, it might be some tactical boots or something like that. And then you're always carrying a flashlight because when you're backstage, or
right, you can't.
You know
see
what I mean?
shit.
You got you always have like a black and a silver Sharpie because if people are asking to sign something, that way
Right.
he's not standing there waiting for an idiot to look for his pen or whatever. You can just help him. He smoked cigarettes like a chimney back then, so I would keep a lighter on me too, just in case.
What
you know
are
what I
these
mean?
years?
Like I was out with them for, like, I did Supernova with him too, like
Wow.
the TV show he did. I did Saints of Los Angeles stuff with
Yeah,
them.
right.
Crew Fest, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Like 06, 07, in those time frame, like 08.
That's fucking awesome, dude. That's and Sly Stallone. What does that look like?
That was
Like,
almost like an accident too. Like
it's just this guy.
Mario Barth. Like, I mean, he had it planned, but for me, I didn't know that was happening. He had what was called the world's largest tattoo convention out in Vegas. He did it at Mandalay Bay at the convention center, and he brought in all these crazy artists from all over the world. And Sylvester, he had tattooed before, so they're friends.
Oh, wow.
So he asked him if he would come to the event, obviously, and he fucking did. And he came and he walked around through it and interacted with the people that
I
had
wonder
booths
what's
and
his
shit.
tattoo. What's
He's got all kinds of shit on
Stallone?
him.
He's
Yeah.
got a good bit.
I don't think I ever realized.
I
that.
never knew.
Yeah.
Then I didn't know because in the movies they would cover the
Yeah,
shit up
right.
all
Yeah.
the time.
It just never.
In Expendables, that's all his shit.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
You know,
Okay. See, I
so,
thought he put that on for the movie.
No, that's
No,
his real
they take it
tattoos.
off for the movie.
Like, he literally
Interesting.
showed me, like, I was like, I go, what do you got? You got a bunch of tattoos? He like unbuttoned his shit. I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
And he was looking to get, like, he had this angel that he wanted, like, on his back, and he was like, his wife, he was going to get like her head put on it. I'm like, that's
He
fucking
said,
bad
it's
luck,
not good
right?
business.
But
right?
but he was, again, couldn't have been nicer. You get the ground rules beforehand. He didn't want to take pictures with no chicks. He didn't want to shake everybody's hand. He just wanted to interact with the people that were at the thing, that were there as the
patron.
artists,
The artists,
Or,
yeah,
right, right.
stuff
no,
like
he wasn't
that.
there really for fans.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not that he was rude to anybody,
right.
but you can imagine he gets inundated.
Sure.
So
God,
we're
it's
walking
gotta be
around.
tense.
We're walking around, and it's hilarious because 90% of the people they're calling him Rambo or Rocky. You know what I mean?
Right. He's never heard that before.
Right. And he's good with it.
Right.
But like I asked him beforehand, I'm like, what would you like me to call you? Like
Lincoln
Sylvester,
Hawk.
Sylvester, Mr. Stallone, like, and he goes, my friends call me Sly, just call me Sly. And the best line he had of the day, there was this woman came up to him and said, oh my God, Sylvester Stallone, I have all your movies. And she was like, and I don't know, I got Rambo. And then she's like, and then what was the one? She had like First Blood. She did say, stop or my mom will shoot. And she said, Demolition Man.
Right.
And Sylvester Stallone goes, oh my God, sweetheart, what's your address? I think I owe you money for 2 of those flicks. You know what I mean? But like what I mean?
Demolition Man,
Yeah, he
that's great.
embraces it.
So like he's
right.
he's self-deprecating.
Yeah.
And
That's
he
funny.
would not take shit for free from anyone. Like he paid like any of the stuff he bought that he was there. He's like, nah, you're here making a living. You know what I mean?
Good
so
for
he
him.
would not take anything for free. Tipped me on top of the pay I was getting.
That's
you know what I
awesome.
mean? Like the guy couldn't have been cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really was a nice guy. So
And he's not a big dude, right? In real life, I mean,
he's probably like 5.
Height, yeah.
Yeah, he's 5. I bet she's 5'7" or 8 or
Right.
something like that.
I was saying, I'm
now
5'8".
he'll wear them, some boots.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like on the screen, sometimes I knew he wasn't big, but back in the day, I used to think he was tall or something.
Yeah, well, we all
but,
did
You know.
because of the way they would shoot him.
You'd
Right.
Shoot him up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it's fucking incredible.
they could be standing on something and you're just seeing,
right.
from there.
Absolutely.
But he was nice. Yeah,
that's
I
fun,
I was very fortunate. Everybody that I worked with, the guys were cool, and I only did it for like a few years, and then once I got stuff legalized here and all, then
It's a better way to make money, probably.
that's when I basically made my mind up, instead of doing this, the schools can be successful. Like when I tore my ACL, that was what really took me out of fighting. It wasn't that the knee was injured and I couldn't do it anymore. Like the ACL is no big deal. I trained for years after that.
Right.
But I'm 35 at that time, basically. And the UFC back then, your first fight, you're making like $2,500 to show and $2,500 to win.
Right.
You had to be a top guy to be making money. Nowadays, I mean, it's not amazing, but show me a boxing match where your first fight you make $12,000 to show and $12,000 to win.
Yeah, right.
But if I won my first one, I make $24,000. You fight 4 times in a year, you made almost $100,000.
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? So, back then that was that was pretty cool. But for me, it wasn't like that. I'm already 35. The pay ain't big. So do I chase my ego?
Right.
Or I'm staying at home now, so I'm at the school consistently, and instead of 40 students, now I have 100 students, and I'm making it up, but let's say it was 100 a month back then. All of a sudden, 10,000 a month.
Yeah.
For teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I just made a business decision. Do I try to build this and be the first guy here really doing this, or do I chase the glory and fight, and maybe somebody else slides in here and gets themselves established?
You did the right choice.
Yeah, I believe so.
You
So
did.
I stayed and did that, and I got the sport legalized. So now you have the 2 businesses, which are they're symbiotic anyway.
Right.
And now we got a bunch of gyms. We have the Rosedale one, we have one in Columbia,
Yeah.
we have one out here. Literally on Owings Mills Boulevard.
Right.
We have the one in Hunt Valley. We have one in West Palm Beach, Florida.
That's all.
And we just signed a lease for Sykesville. We're going to do one out there.
Nice.
So the school came before Shogun.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The school was way before because, the school happened, you could say by accident, but I was like, here's what I think. If shit is going to work, it has to be something you enjoy. And I believe that if it happens organically, that it will be even more successful. Right. And the biggest example of that is Rogan. That podcast, there was nothing that he thought was going to be big. I mean, it was something he used to fuck off with his friends on his phone, and when they were on a plane or when they were sitting in a hotel room wasting time. And now he's like he's the Johnny Carson of our generation, basically. You know.
Speaking of that, it's fascinating to me how many people I come across that don't even know he's a comedian.
That's I mean,
right.
Look, this is what Joe.
Think of the Fear Factor.
This is
guy?
what Joe said. Yeah, this is what Joe said when he really knew the podcast was taking over. Comedy shows, usually it's tattoos, fucking bald heads, and fucking fight shirts and jiu-jitsu guys and whatever else. He said, he says that he started getting up higher on the level as far as the venues he's playing. More and more, he's seeing JRE. So podcast shirts are starting to take over the crowd. Right. So and look, I said, like with Joe, dude, saw him down the Improv, maybe 150 people, fit in that spot, and I was doing a show. I did a Shogun down at the Hard Rock in Seminole County, Florida, and I did they had a new venue. I did the first one there, and while I'm there, the guys that are with me are like, "Hey, man, you know Joe, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "He's got a show at the Fillmore, in Miami,
right?"
And he goes, "It's sold out though. You think you can call him?" And I'm like, "Well, how far away?" And he's like, "It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes." He goes, "I got a rental car." So I hit Joe, "Hey man, I'm doing a show down here. We just happen to be here. Can I get 4? So he gets me the tickets. We go down, and like I said, I've been to 100 shows. Dude, there was a fucking line to get into that place. I mean, blocks long. Like, it was so long. Well, I was like, holy fuck, like what the fuck is going on
here? You said the Beatles here?
I'm videoing this shit, and I send it to him. I'm like, "Yo, homeboy, what the fuck is going on here?" And he goes, "I'm blowing up, son." You know what I mean? So I was like, I said, "Look, I love you to death." I go, "But ain't going to be no dinner after this if I'm waiting for this shit." And he goes, "Oh, no, I stopped doing that now. I can't do it anymore." And what it was, he would stay after every fucking show and shake every hand of every person that wanted to. He would take
everybody.
He would take a picture, like it got to the point where the people of the place, he'd stand there, they'd take the camera, snap the picture.
Right.
He had a whole system. And so if we're all going to dinner, you're fucking waiting an hour or 2,
hours,
for this guy to get done doing all he's doing. And that's what I was like, "You think I'm fucking waiting for this? I love you, but not like that." And he goes, "Oh, no, we don't do that anymore." So me, him, Henchcliffe, and
damn.
And I think that when he was with the redhead Santini, is that his name?
Andrew Santino.
Yeah,
We love
that guy.
Santino.
And then when they came to Baltimore and played at the arena, he was with all them.
Nice.
And then after the show, he loves to play pool. My boy Fatlow owns Top Deck.
Nice.
So he likes to play on a regulation table.
Yeah, Rogan's a serious pool guy.
Real deal. So I called Fatlow and he got us in there, and they kept it we were there till 3, 4 in the morning, just fucking shooting, pool.
That's so fun.
Yeah,
dude.
I took me and my nephews and all, and everybody went and just shot
That's
pool.
so fucking fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
My dad's a hell of a pool player.
Is Frank? Frank
yeah.
rocks the cue.
Yeah, he's good.
Nice.
Rogan always said that he would have, if MMA didn't work out for him, he would have been a pool hall junkie.
His buddy Tommy Seminaro. Tommy's Jersey. I think is Tommy from Boston, because that's it's where Joe was at for a while, and I love Tommy. Tommy's a good guy too. But that's one of his pool buddies.
Yeah, I mean they and he watches it on his own time. He's a he's a real craftsman.
Oh yeah, he knows he knows the pool players.
Yeah,
he knows the sticks, who's making them, all that stuff.
So this is kind of a broad question. I don't even know if you have an answer, but who do you think is overall kind of the greatest MMA fighter?
In my mind, probably there's a few. If I just threw names out there: John Jones, George St. Pierre, Demetrius Johnson, Jose Aldo. I guess you could put Khabib in there. I just like, even though Khabib was undefeated, like if you look at his level of competition, it's not very good. Like in comparison to like John or George. Matter of fact, somebody just posted the other day. I saved it, and it was like John's opponents' win and loss record, St. Pierre's win and loss record, and Khabib's was by far like the lowest of all of them. So I'm not trying to take away from him, but I just don't think he fought like a murderer's row. So how do we see that he's really the greatest? Where when George won, George cleaned up the division. Like he beat guys 2 and 3 times over there, you know, but he beat BJ Penn, he beat Matt Hughes, he beat Matt Serra, he beat Koscheck, he beat Fitch, he beat Hendricks, like he beat Carlos Condit, like he beat Nick Diaz, you know what I mean? Like anybody. No? He was too heavy. But you know, he pretty much smoked everybody that he could fight. So, you know, I think that, and again, most complete fighter probably of all time, you know, as far as in his weight class. You know, probably you would have to say John's the GOAT, just because his domination over more than a decade. You know, he was the youngest guy to ever win a belt, and he really never was beaten. He's got one loss on his record, and it's bullshit. He was beating the crap out of the guy, and they said he hit him with a downward elbow. You know, it was nonsense. But whatever the case, you know, I probably would say he's number one, just because, again, beat Shogun at the top of his game, beat Machida, you know, he beat Glover, he beat he beat everybody.
I know. You mentioned Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I think
there was a time where
he might have been, like you're saying, he might have been the best to ever do it. Like that was another guy. He was undefeated for 10 years.
When Conor McGregor did that,
I was there. That
crazy. Fucking ruined Jose Aldo.
It really
I've never seen anything like it, because I was in Aldo's corner that match. I'm like, we got to shut this fucker off.
If they fought 10 times, it never happens again.
I know, but it did.
It did.
It did. I know.
And as much as I felt bad for Aldo, that is what pushed Conor to that next level, and Conor really took the sport to the next level.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I do this weird thing. It always happens, you know, where if a guy is, you know, if he's too good, he thinks I fucking hate him.
Yeah, but I think everybody got tired of him. But he. Like,
but eventually,
he grows
he'll win. He'll win your respect, and it's like all of a sudden after the second Aldo fight, I'm like, all right, it's like Tom Brady. Like I wanted to hate Tom Brady so bad, and I did for so many years. But after that fucking Super Bowl in Atlanta, I've never seen anything like that. It was I mean, you know me, I don't know shit about sports. It was the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. They were like, well, that's it. Brady's it. Nobody's ever come back from this much of a deficit. And he did in the fourth quarter and won the fucking Super Bowl. And I was like, you know what? I love this guy. I don't know. Why am I fighting it?
Yep, what are you going to say?
Right? It's like, what can you fucking do?
Yeah, Aldo was amazing. That's one of the reasons I threw his name out there when you're asking about the best guys, because
he was really...
Yeah. I mean, incredible wrestling defense. He was a very good jiu-jitsu player. Like I'm talking a guy that was winning, you know, national level competitions and stuff. You saw what an amazing striker he was.
His hand speed was crazy. His head game was great.
Leg kicks like nobody's business.
Right.
I mean, he leg kicked Uriah Faber into basically submission. I mean, Uriah told me he couldn't walk for like 2 weeks.
And Uriah dominated WE for many years.
Till he got to Aldo.
Right.
So, you know, but yeah, Jose was...
It didn't even occur to me that night that Conor would even come close to winning. I was like, Aldo's going to shut this guy up, period.
But I knew the wild card was that Aldo liked to fight on the feet, and that's where Conor had... Like, Conor has hardly any ground game. So if you were going to beat him, you should have went out there and took him down. What he would do is talk so much shit and get these guys pissed to where they would, you know, want to come at him, and all of a sudden you're not so technical and you make a mistake. And that's what he did with Aldo. Like, he literally knew Aldo wasn't a guy that came running across the ring, but he knew he was going to come running after him. He had shit on him so much, he took his belt from him at the press conference. So, you know, and if you look at, they both landed. you know, and but Connor put him out, and Connor's head was cut. Yeah. So, you know, like, let the fight continue, and who knows what would have happened. And the way, like, how those leg kicks were just, you know, they were pretty fucking crazy.
Damn.
So I would have loved to see them two fight for real. But, you know, Connor, when the lights were on, like, there's the opposite. You know, some guys shrink under the lights. I'll never forget that place. Like, there was half of Ireland was there. Like, I got pictures in my phone of Irish guys and the shit they were wearing. This guy had like a shamrock tuxedo and, like, I'm talking vests underneath, top hats on. They were fucking ready to go. But he comes out, you know, to his fucking Biggie song and all, and he gets up into the cage. And, like, he gets outside, he's getting all his shit done. He gets up in there, he fucking runs, like, around the cage. And then he goes and just stands in the middle of it like this. And the place is going fucking crazy. And he's just eating it the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's a guy that fuels him.
Right.
Where other people, they're in their corner, you know what I mean, thinking they got to take a leak.
Right.
You
At
know?
that moment,
and like,
he's
once
like,
it's like, it's almost like football. When you get that first hit, you know, a lot of that shit goes away.
Sure.
But that guy, he thrives on being the center of attention. And I just, like, it's one of the things I'll never forget, because he just fucking was in the middle of it, just soaking it all in. It was wild.
That's I mean, you got to admit, like I said, he's another one where all of a sudden I'm like, all right, he's fucking good. Like, you know, he is a showman. He brings the game. But as you say, it is a limited game.
Yeah, well, you know he's fairly one-dimensional.
Right.
But, you know, he's still, like, I mean, again, everybody in that sport's making more money because of him.
Yeah, right, right. And anybody who gets in a fucking cage with another grown man, you know, it's like...
It definitely. I always say that.
He doesn't suck. You know, I'll tell you that.
And then as far as the school, you have all kinds of students, but you also have some guys that are special, that are getting into that fight in Shogun.
No,
Any
definitely.
UFC
we have some guys
too.
Yeah, Tucker Lutz went to the UFC. I mean, from Ground Control, Tucker is the first guy that made it into the UFC.
That's fucking wonderful.
You know, we've had guys fighting Bellator and World Series of Fighting. Jesse Stern, Skylar Sutho, he fought on there. You know, off Shogun, Sadiq Yusuf, he's had a lot of wins in there. Matt Semmelsberger, they call him Semi the Jedi. He's he's a fan friendly guy.
Nice.
Knocks out, you know, a lot of knockouts and shit. Trying to think, Miranda Maverick. Right now, a kid named Mansour Abdul Malik. Mansour used to train with us all the way through high school, and then he went to College Park and wrestled, and now he is actually in Vegas training. He used to be down in Florida, but I think he's won his first 2 or 3, and like, keep an eye out for his name, because that guy's gonna, like, he's gonna win more than he's gonna lose.
Nice.
You know, he's a real coachable kid. Crazy athlete, has wrestling base, but his striking is probably, like, he head kicked the dude on Shogun and literally lifted him off his feet, and he was training, and he just started training in Vegas, so like Ngannou and Strickland shared that, and the shit went viral.
Wow.
You know, from him knocking them out. But, like, you know, he knocked out, I'm dropping a name because I don't know if it's been put out there, but he knocked a dude in the UFC who had a fight out in training, and the guy wound up not fighting because of it.
Right.
But I mean, it's just and this is a guy who's been there and been fighting, so like, they knew, you know what I mean?
Right.
This kid is definitely ready. So he's won a few. Man, I don't know. I would literally have to sit down and look and see how many different guys, but it's probably been, I'd say, at least 20 to 25 people off of Shogun have went.
Wonderful.
And that's to me, that was kind of what I wanted to do here, was give fighters from the DMV the opportunity to, you know, to showcase their skills,
get in the world,
and get to the next level. And the other thing that it's helped is, you know, right now we're at Live Casino. We've been doing it. I love the people there. Ashley and Chris are like my 2 main contacts, and they really treat me well. We probably get about 3,000 people,
Nice.
there. That's what fits in the room that we use. At the arena, we were probably averaging closer to 5,000 people. But the guys that fight for us, when they do go on to the bigger shows, they say it's not a shock to go out there because they're used to walking out. And like we do a big production, so there's a lot of lights and music and, the smoke and all that bullshit. So when the guys come out and they, their fans are screaming and everything, so they've already been in front of a few thousand people. So it's a lot different than, like people that don't have the opportunity to fight on that kind of show. And maybe you're down and again, I'm not talking shit on anybody, but maybe you're down in Winchester, Virginia, and you're fighting at the state fairground. And like literally one of my guys fought at the Virginia State Fairgrounds in a pen where they literally cleaned pigs out the day before it. So, and like he said to me, he goes, Jesus Christ, man, we're so spoiled, with Shogun.
That's like any which way but loose.
Right. They were great movies.
Yeah,
Right Turn,
Beto.
Clyde.
Yep.
My boy used to call me that because he looked like Bo Kreiser. He looked like the leader of the Black Widows. Like he got
That's so funny.
dude. He got so hammered one night. Me and my boy Dave drew with a black Sharpie a spider on his.
Wow.
his
Just
mother,
like
his
the
mom was
tattoo.
his mom was so
That's
pissed.
hilarious.
And we used to call him. I used to call him, "Yo, Black Widows," and we all went out for my boy's bachelor party one night. And whenever we were leaving a bar, he would go, "Black Widows, ride!" And everybody would get up and follow him
That's
out.
so fucking
And,
funny.
One of the greatest motorcycle gangs ever.
And he used to call me Philo Rallo.
And that's awesome. And that sax every time they'd say the name.
Right? They had their own theme song.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Yep.
That's so fun.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
fighting
good
at the
for you, man.
fairgrounds,
Like,
yeah.
all that's wonderful stuff. We love that. Part of the impetus of the show is to try to shine a positive light on Baltimore, whatever that
Yeah,
looks like,
nice.
whatever way. We got the Baltimore skyline in the logo. Everything's local and sourced. Wheel works for Washington
Monumental
Capitals,
Sports.
Monumental Sports, and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, he does
So-
the live audio mix for like the Wizards, Capitals. He's in the
Nice.
truck.
Yeah, so we share the
Oh,
same love for the area and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you're an exciting guy, and I'm very happy to meet you. Are you good? Can I go on to my thing? I'm gonna ask because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So we like to wrap up the interviews by discussing a little bit of film lore, and so
You've already told us you're a nerd.
Yeah. Oh, as far as Marvel goes,
Yeah.
well, I loved all the Marvel movies until Disney started getting woke on me. And,
right, they
you know
started
what I
going
mean?
a little haywire.
Yeah, I don't want to see all that
and,
shit.
Right,
like
right.
I'm just here to be entertained,
Right.
not to be preached at.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
And I wish they were more comic accurate, but still, like I thought Infinity Gauntlet and all was, was pretty amazing.
Let's
My
hover-
son saw Fantastic Four the other day.
Oh,
He
yeah?
said it was really good.
I've
He
heard
said it was
like
good.
I heard all kinds of bad shit before it
Right.
came out, but I have to admit, like it's been getting good reviews.
Yeah,
you know?
I actually heard it was wonderful.
I'm pissed about the female Silver Surfer shit. I have to admit, because the Silver Surfer is one of my favorite characters, and in the comics, she might have showed up where she mattered, like in two
Right,
issues.
Right.
So, like the reality of it is, that's the Silver Surfer's wife, Shala Bal. Yeah,
Right.
it's his girlfriend or whatever.
Right,
it's really who he fucking sacrificed himself for her and the planet so
Right.
Galactus wouldn't kill it. You know what I
Right.
mean? That was how he became the Herald. So.
Right.
Well, so no, I don't know how they're portraying, but from what I was
I
told,
heard it was like all.
yeah, like I think that
I heard
they
she's not a major.
right, like
thing
they
anyway.
set
She's
it up
the
so
Herald.
Silver Surfer
And
can
it's
still
Ruth
come
Langmore.
in,
You gotta love
which we
that.
love her. Right, great stuff. So if you had a,
Yeah,
if you
Ozark.
were,
Yeah.
that was a great
Yeah.
flick.
Wonderful.
You know, a
Wonderful
series.
show.
God, that
Yeah.
was one of the
The
most
feel-
intense TV shows.
the
I've ever
feel good
watched in my
show of the
life,
century, baby.
Right.
So if you were stuck on a desert island, John Rallo style, and you had to be there with 3 to 5 of your favorite movies of all times, what would they be?
Well, I always say, like, if I'm just looking at overall movies, like I have favorites within genres. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Because it
fine.
That's
depends
fine.
what you're into. But I mean,
We're not
Yeah.
Like,
We're not strict.
yeah, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That's
Great
2
movie.
for that.
Fucking
Yeah, that's
amazing.
awesome.
Like, I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan,
Yeah.
so
Nice.
Lock, Stock might have been my favorite of all his
I think
movies.
we had a Snatch, not Lock, Stock.
Yeah, Snatch is
Oh, that's right.
I mean, Snatch would be on there too.
Yeah. Bricktop
But,
is one of my favorite
Yeah,
characters
right.
ever.
He's a fucking
And
man in
I
that.
liked Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes. I thought
Sherlock
it was
Holmes
fun.
is great.
Like, you know,
Dude, the movie The Gentleman was
The
great.
Gentleman.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even the series The Gentleman
I
was
haven't
great.
seen it though, but I've
Fucking
heard
real
it was
good,
if you like the Gentleman,
Mobland
you love it.
was good. The
Mobland.
series
Oh,
that just came
Mobland
out.
is Guy Ritchie.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I didn't
Wow.
know that.
Hell yeah.
I love Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
awesome in it.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
All right. I would say, so Lock, Stock. I would say Tropic Thunder.
Nice.
You know, I love comedies,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
Great.
I would have to say of my Will Ferrell movies, because I'm a fan of his comedy. Talladega Nights would probably be there. Like on one of the Motley Crue tours, we watched that shit 100 times.
Right.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Then I like Quentin Tarantino a lot. So he's got so many good ones. Pulp Fiction,
Right.
Reservoir Dogs, you know, the Kill Bills. Like, what I was really surprised at is Ben Stiller. He might be the king of all comedy because not only has he done all the hilarious shit that we know he did, you know, Along Came Polly. Like, I thought that
Oh my
movie was
God.
hilarious.
Philip
Sydney,
Seymour Hoffman.
What is his
Come
name?
on, man.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
that's
This
it.
motherfucker playing, it's raining, Bob. You know,
Right.
white
Right now.
chocolate, Bob.
the hell
He
is
was
his
making
name?
goddamn
Yelling.
What
thing.
is his name?
Pole's yelling at us right now.
Oh, in the movie,
Yeah,
because
the
he was an
movies.
actor. Remember,
Sandy Lyle.
Sandy Lyle. That's
Sandy
it.
Lyle.
Sandy Lyle.
You won.
God,
so
that was
you know. But is that a phenomenal?
Oh
it's a
my
hilarious
God.
movie. The Heartbreak Kid,
Yeah.
hilarious.
Meet
Ben
the
Stiller
Parents,
movie.
man.
Meet the parents. Meet the Fockers.
Fockers.
But to your point,
You know,
Stiller,
Dodgeball. But he also wrote like Anchorman.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Tropic Thunder
Right.
is Stiller.
he also did a
He
role.
did Happy Gilmore too. He wrote.
Is that right?
Yes, fucking saw it.
Wow.
Happy Gilmore too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I wasn't a fan of it.
I mean,
It was okay.
you know,
I-
what was it?
I
It was.
didn't
It was
finish
what
it.
I expected.
Well, here's
Right.
what I'll say. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but it was no part one.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
but if you just kind of, you know, like
That's kind of what I thought was.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
you
was
knew it was
enjoyable.
going to be the same type of
Exactly,
joke. So
right.
I just,
Yeah.
I was prepared for
I
it.
had a good time. Like I wasn't. It didn't upset me. Like it.
and they
it,
killed off Julie Bowen.
Well,
Oh,
wasn't
right
that
in the
wild?
beginning.
Spoiler
What a
alert,
plot
right?
twist,
Yeah,
right? Like who saw that one?
So
coming?
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What else? Oh, Sicario.
Oh,
Fucking
You
amazing.
mentioned that on the
yes.
text.
Amazing
I love
movie, man.
Sicario. Now
Amazing
that's
movie.
Denny Villeneuve. That's
Yeah.
our boy who does
Yeah.
Blade
Dune.
Runner 2049,
Yeah.
Dune.
Benicio.
Yeah, Dune. My wife
Benicio.
loves Dune.
Dude,
the
Dune,
new Dune.
man.
Yeah,
Did
she's
she
huge
watch the
into it.
series?
I'm not. I don't know.
Let me tell you something.
She probably did.
series
well,
is good.
the Dune movies of late are fucking phenomenal, but they just did the series. I can't remember what it's called. But it's like an origin story
All right.
of the Bene Gesserit
Yeah.
people.
You know what it's called?
I can't remember. It's Dune Prophecy or Dune.
Prophecy.
Is that
Okay.
right?
It's Prophecy.
Okay.
Yep.
Then it's Dune Prophecy, and I want to say it's on HBO. It's only like 5 or
Yeah.
6 episodes. They renewed it for another season, but it's the same creator of the
Nice.
movie.
It's good.
And if she's into the lore, it
right.
was
To
wonderful.
check it out.
Yeah.
Like you know, I told you I like. You know, Denzel's always great. Training Day.
Oh.
You know, Man on Fire.
Glory.
The
Him and
Equalizer.
Glory.
Yeah, Glory's the guy's. He's just a phenomenal actor. So pretty
Phenomenal
much
actor.
almost whatever he's in, he's going to kill.
John,
Yeah.
do you get frustrated when you're watching martial art movies? Like if there's poor technique and shit, or is it not? You don't really.
Nah, like I think look. I was like I said, I was 29, you know, or 30.
Yeah,
now
right. I
then
guess that's
35.
true.
So I was already older once. Like I already enjoyed Bloodsport.
Yeah,
and-
right. I
and
guess
Above
that's
the
true.
Law, and you know all those kind back in the day. Plus, you know, you're just watching them for entertainment value.
Mm-hmm.
Like the simple fact is, there is nobody walking around beating the shit out of 10 guys. Just
Yeah,
bop,
I mean
bop,
that's
bop.
why I
You know
love
what
Steven
mean?
Seagal
Well,
movies so much.
you know what I
man.
mean?
Other than Henzo
So-
Gracie.
You know, so it's like even Hickson, like at that seminar, the guy, somebody asked him about multiple attackers, and he goes, "My friend, do you know what we do for multiple attackers? we run.
That's
you know what I
smart.
mean?
Right,
And this
that's
is
awesome.
the best guy ever. You know what I mean? So
Practicality.
you know, so it's like I think I always used to watch that stuff for entertainment value. I think as MMA movies started to come out, and the same, like even football, you know, I played some football in my day, so sometimes you see that that's bullshit.
Right.
But I think the MMA movies, you know, you might say that's bullshit or whatever, but a lot of times, is it really supposed to be real accurate? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like it's
right. A movie's
you know, the
a movie.
Warrior, where the two brothers wind up, you know, Tom Hardy and the other
Right.
dude wind up fighting each other. You know, like John Wick. As crazy as John Wick is, John Wick might have some of the best technique. Like all of his instructors say Keanu drills like a madman. They say he goes through the gun things like he's a special ops dude.
Right.
You know, I know that he trains jiu-jitsu with the Machados. You see some of the jiu-jitsu moves in, like, for me, I get a kick out of it because grappling arts aren't going to be on the screen all the time.
Yeah,
so,
right.
you know, when you see him do that, you're like, holy shit, you know, hey, he did a omoplata, he just triangled that guy. Like the first real movie that I noticed it in, and it was after the fact, was Lethal Weapon, because Horian was the fight coordinator when Mel Gibson, he triangle choked Gary Busey
at the end.
in the movie.
I never saw a triangle choke till then.
So that was them. And
that was 87.
And you can go back even further. Old Bruce Lee, you know, he was arm locking people in his movies too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he used to train with Judo Gene LaBelle, so he had some grappling.
And
that he
Gene
would
LaBelle
learn, you
is,
know?
of course, a legend.
Big time
in
stunt
MMA.
man.
Right,
You know, he's
right.
probably the most famous for choking Steven Seagal out and making him like shit himself.
That's my favorite story. On Out for Justice, right? It's like on the set of Out
He
for
challenged
Justice.
people. Nobody can choke me. Nobody. And Gene's like, man, I think I could. You know.
That's so fucking fun. I love that story.
He got blackballed forever for that. Like, you know, it took him a while to get back into good graces.
Right. Well, that's a tough one.
Showed up the star. But Gene, like, technically might have fought the first MMA fight ever in the U.S., like in the 60s. He fought a guy, I think the guy's name was Milo Savage, and the guy was like a boxer, and Gene was in there fucking doing judo on him and, you know, wound up throwing him and beating him.
I love that shit. I love good history like that.
I took Hapkido in my adult life for 3 years until I hurt my back.
Yeah,
that was
like
fun.
it.
Yeah, I loved it.
You really got into it.
I believe
really
any martial art is good for people. I think it gets you moving. It's going to teach you some self-defense skills. It's going to teach you discipline. You know, I just think anything's better than just sitting on your sofa playing video games.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
there's a time for that, you know, like keep a couple hours in the day, but, you know, make sure you're still getting out and you're physically active as well.
Yeah, well, that's fucking wonderful. Do you got anything else?
There's what. How far back does the Gracie family go?
As far as?
Like, I mean, who started that?
Oh, it's Carlos Sr. and Helio. What happened was there was a Japanese man, they call him like Count Koma Maeda. He came to Brazil from Japan. He was a big judo player there, submission wrestling guy. Came to Brazil. I want to say that he had some trouble in Japan. Came to Brazil. The Gracies like took him in and helped him get assimilated because the Gracie family was a successful family there, and to thank them, he taught his kids jiu-jitsu. So Carlos was like the elder son, so he like taught him. Helio, they always said, was smaller and more frail, and he would watch a lot more than he was doing it.
John, hold on real quick. To be clear, jiu-jitsu existed before Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Japanese jiu-jitsu was there as well.
Right.
Like the Japanese jiu-jitsu is honestly, and maybe judo guys will yell, but it's basically judo. They're very similar. And judo back in the day, they have like takiwaza, which is like the stand up and the throws, or they call it niwaza, which is the grappling portion. So because of the Olympics and things, judo has become more of a takedown-oriented sport where the pin is the ultimate goal. You're either getting 3 points on your, based on throws. You know, you get a throw and then you restart. when they hit the floor, if I'm not mistaken, they only have like 30 seconds to like continue movement and do something. So normally if they hit the floor, guys just stall and they stand them back up and they restart, you know, and they go for their throws again. If I can throw you and you hit the mat like flat back, it's a ippon, it's a pin, and the match would be over. So it's really evolved into a stand-up art. It does have grappling. I don't think that its grappling is as advanced as jiu-jitsu's is, because jiu-jitsu really took the niwaza portion and, you know, really developed that.
Drilled down on it.
Yeah.
Right.
And like with judo, like guys aren't in judo inventing new judo techniques. Like judo is an art, it's an ancient art, and it has, you know, their techniques and there's a process. And in jiu-jitsu, these goddamn guys, the guys come up with shit every day. Like there's just new shit all the time. So it's an ever-evolving sport. It's super ground-based. Honestly, if you're a gi practitioner, judo is what you would want to train for the stand-up. And if you're a no-gi practitioner, I mean, judo can still work, but wrestling is probably superior without the gi on. So, you know, so for jiu-jitsu guys, you know, that stand up, you want to cross train, you're going to cross train some of those other arts. But grappling based arts, you know, I think jiu-jitsu has the edge, and in the stand up category, I think judo has the edge. But you can see, like Rhonda was a judo
I was
player.
Just gonna say Rousey,
and
man.
you know,
her judo.
yeah, her arm bars were retarded, like even better than most of the guys in the sport. And what happened there, her mother was the first American. I don't know if she's the first American world champion, or if she's just the first American woman world champion. But whatever the case, her mother was a world champion, and her mother had a horrible, like her back had a bad back injury. So her mom, you know, judo is kind of strength related. It's obviously technical, but it's a lot of strength to it. It's a lot of explosive strength.
Right.
So because her back was injured, she focused on the ground stuff.
Right.
And her arm bars and all got crazy. So as she brought her daughter up, she brought Rhonda up to have this crazy ground game already. And that's where, you know, how Rhonda really got so good at it. And like, I mean, you saw
That's
she
the
was
first like 7 matches.
yeah, and from every position. Like she really had fantastic technique. Like I'd like to see her in some, like I would love to see her go to Abu Dhabi back then and compete against some of the real good jiu-jitsu girls. But yeah, she was, I mean, her arm bars, she was special. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was a wild time.
Cool.
I mean, even that whole women's division thing
and
at
she's
first.
she's another one. Like you know, the UFC was here, and then it starts to get here. Then it's getting here, and then Rhonda came along, and boom, it makes a big jump, you know, because all of a sudden it got women.
Right, it's a whole other league,
too.
if you will.
Yeah,
I mean,
and look, Dana forever. We'll never have women.
I remember back in the day, he was like, absolutely not, and then all of a sudden,
now he does.
Those
so
are some of the best matches. I've
yeah,
seen.
oh my
Recently,
God.
You know what? Too, I always say the
man.
women don't. Most of the women don't hit hard enough to knock you out.
Right.
So it's going to be a
It is a
knockdown,
scrap
drag out
fest.
fight. You know.
well, you know that Rousey and who's my girl Misha Tate.
Yeah, Misha
round
Tate.
2.
My
Jeez.
wife Angel, she used to love Misha.
Dude, I wanted Misha to win so bad.
I think everybody
Oh
did.
my God, I was so upset. And then when Rousey talked shit to her in the cage after the match, I was like, I hate
bad.
that.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of
but-
people didn't like that.
but
I don't
again-
think Rhonda gave a shit, to be honest.
I don't think she did either. I think she
know?
was a gamer. She had a good mental game at the time. I think,
I think, look, she's nuts. There's definitely some crazy shit going on over there. She's got a, you know, with her dad, you know, and all that stuff. You know, I think he committed suicide.
I believe you're right.
So,
and
but
she married again. She married.
I think Travis Brown.
That's right. He was a
UFC
fighter. Yeah, he was a
he was a heavyweight.
good.
He was pretty good.
He was a good fighter back in the day. I mean, for what I remember.
Yep. And then what TV shows too you were talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think Breaking Bad, obviously.
Oh, one of the best of all time.
Game of Thrones, I thought was amazing.
Loved it.
Yeah, I liked it.
And I was fine with the ending. I wish it was
I
different.
was happy
but
with.
it
Honestly,
did
I didn't
not-
have a problem.
Yeah,
with the
I don't know
ending.
why
I was
everyone was
fine with the
zapping
ending,
out.
yeah.
Like
Because people zap out about everything.
Like I kind of liked. Honestly, I liked the whole arc her character took. Being the assassin and all that shit. So in
I
my mind, it
loved
was kind of cool that she was the one that
Yeah.
wound up doing
right.
it.
I mean,
and Jon
my
Snow.
view
I mean, we all
he
thought
lived.
he was
I mean,
gonna be
that's
the
fine.
guy.
My view
Like,
on Game of Thrones is the show overtook the book, so who gives a shit? I mean, the
Right.
show is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't give a if George R.R. Martin's going to change it, then put out the books.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
I'll read them,
right.
but it is. what it
Apparently,
is.
he's a
I think,
difficult guy.
the Wire, obviously,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have
I
to get
love
with.
Yeah.
the Wire.
The Last Kingdom, Vikings.
No, wait, the Vikings. My wife loved Vikings, and I love it when I see it. But for whatever reason, I have
second
not
one-
watched the whole run.
I still haven't watched Shogun either. I gotta
Dude,
watch
that
you know what? It was
Shogun
pretty
was
goddamn
good.
good.
man.
Yeah, that was
It was
good.
good. I mean, it was historical. You have to read a lot. It's subtitles.
No, I
like,
don't mind.
Yeah,
that.
I don't mind.
I
any
prefer
of
that
shit,
when I'm
but-
watching.
And you know
foreign
what else I
language.
think we were set with movies and kind of, I don't know if you consider it a martial arts movie, but I thought I liked 47 Ronin. I thought
47
Oh,
that was a
yeah.
Ronin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Keanu
that.
Reeves,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah, that's
I thought he was going
Because
to
it
say
had-
only the strong.
that's so funny.
right, and it's just
Capoeira.
a crazy story.
Yeah,
Right,
it is
right.
great.
And then if you
thoroughly
look up
enjoyed
like
that.
there's a guy Tony Jaa.
I know
Oh, yeah,
Tony
Alright,
Jaa.
so
yeah.
Ong Bak
Ong
was
Bak,
pretty
right?
Yeah,
the
Ong
Thai
Bak.
warrior.
Yeah, if you
Ong
look
Bak,
up,
right.
he did another movie, The Protector, which was like about him and his elephant got like separated.
I
He's
didn't
going,
see it, but I
"Dude,
remember
I
the-
think that
I
was a
remember
pretty,
the
that was
case
a pretty good
of it.
movie.
I like Michael Jai White movies too.
Yeah.
think
I mean,
he's-
he actually came to a Shogun.
Well, he's a
yeah.
legit. He's a legit player.
He's a good, a real good martial artist. He
Yeah.
cross trains a lot. He works out with a lot of the fighters.
Right.
So yeah, he's a nice guy too.
Yeah, he's been in the game for a minute too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, I worked in a video store in '91, and he was in a lot of videos back then, so it was
Right.
good shit.
The old days when you could walk to the corner.
He was Spawn,
video
right?
store.
Yes.
But he was
John Leguizamo
I think
I believe
Spawn-
so.
He was Spawn in the first.
Yeah, the first
and
one,
the
original
only way
movie.
John Leguizamo was the
Was
bad
right,
guy.
right, the bad
and-
guy.
right,
Clown,
right.
yeah.
It should have been better.
The Violator.
The Violator, yeah.
Right, look at you. Right, that's awesome. All right, man. Well, look, Mr. Rallo, this has been a real
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah.
You got
How-
something?
fun.
No, just tell us about. I mean, where does everybody find you? We'll have it all posted all over our
Oh, it's
stuff.
cool. I think for Shogun, I literally just got my my Facebook Shogun page back. But yeah, it's Shogun
Nice.
Fights. On Instagram, there's Ground Control out there. It's at Be More MMA is my personal one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super I'm not the super. I don't even have a personal Instagram.
Yep.
I do have a Twitter that I barely use at all.
Right.
So I couldn't give
You're
you
better
tons of
off,
shit.
baby.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I you should have a bigger presence out there. I have a Facebook page that I put my stuff out on.
right.
Because that does well enough for me. Maybe one day I'll do my own thing. I know
Right.
after I do Joe, usually my Ground Control page will grow.
Yeah,
because
right.
people hear you on there and
Sure.
stuff. But yeah, it's at Be More MMA on Instagram. It's John Shogun Rallo if you're on Facebook, and Shogun Fights on Facebook, and Ground Control is out there as well.
And how often are the Shogun fights?
Shogun Fights, honestly, I only do 2 a year right
Okay.
now. I do one usually in March, and then I do one in either October or November. The next one this year is November the 15th,
Cool.
and it's at Live Casino.
Nice.
Awesome. We'll
And you
put-
always got Schlegel.
Yeah, Justin's my
Yeah.
Justin's my ring announcer. It works out great.
That's awesome.
We got to be friends just for me doing the show all the
Yeah.
time and stuff.
Right.
And then he is a huge MMA fan.
I would say he's a gamer.
Big time MMA fan,
Yeah.
which I didn't really realize. So it's cool for him to be there. He's a lot of energy, does an amazing
Oh, yeah,
job.
he's great.
And he's knowledgeable, so he can actually ask questions about a hold somebody
right.
just won with or something. So so Justin is awesome. I have a great crew Vance, and the people at Sheffield help. We have Rick who's my main guy that like edits the shows and puts all the
Nice.
graphics in and all that stuff. I think it's Rick Larimore is his last name. Tim Conder is my production manager. It's a lot easier now. When we were at the arena, I was bringing in all the audio and the video and the sound. I mean, the audio, video, and everything, the lighting, and now it's all at the casino.
Right,
you know what I mean?
brilliant.
So that's less responsibility for us.
Sure.
But Tim's the whole crew really has been with me since the beginning.
That's awesome.
My cage crew, my brothers, it's all friends and family that helped me really with the show. So I'm just thankful, that I can do something that I love. I do it there a couple times a year. I try, we could probably do more, but honestly, we have great sponsorship. A lot of guys, Vinny at Life Med, Ron Frank with Lexington National, Mark McDaniel at NLP Enterprises, Zach Traybold with the local, and Natalie Seafood House and Evolved Hospitality Group. These guys, all these people that I have, Pat's Pizzeria, they do every show. Dennis Deem, a buddy of mine, a plumbing guy. So it's Keith Kaiser. I keep saying names because I don't want to be rude and forget.
Sure,
people.
right.
But these guys, they've been with me almost since the beginning. Stan Diamond, In and Out Floors. They come every show. They bring their people with them. They'll get a gang of tickets. And they support the shows. So for me, when we first started, we were just doing 2. Then I started to do 3 a year because when I was at the arena, I would do MGM as well.
Right.
Now that I'm at the casino, I don't feel it's cool to be doing them at the MGM because it's competition.
Yeah,
to
right.
them.
You don't want to.
MGM's not competition to the arena.
Right.
So I only do 2, and I also feel these guys, they're almost like clockwork. My friends really support. So I don't want to say I'm going to do 3 now.
Yeah,
you
don't want to
now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like right now, it's 2 a year. The events are usually big. They're well attended, and it's almost like a big reunion.
Right.
I'm telling you, I almost have season tickets. I literally do have season tickets where the boxes. I have the same guys every show. I've been there, buy the same box.
Right.
The guys that sit around the cage, they all have their same tickets.
Yeah.
So they
there's
all
a hunger
know.
for the sport.
So when these guys come, they say it all the time. I'll come here. You're going to see these people every 6 months. And it's guys you used to hang out with, people that you went to school with. So it's almost like a big reunion. Other than the fighters will have their crews there as well.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a pretty cool event, and even though you got 3,000 people at it, it's it's very I think it's still intimate and kind of personal because it's really a nice, it's a local show.
Yeah, it's
we do, it's big and it's cool, but I keep it real. It's a regional show. I'm not trying to be the UFC.
Sure.
Right.
I'm hoping that again, we can give fighters from the DMV a platform to get noticed and to go to the next level.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
You're
cool.
like the farm system on the East
more or
Coast.
less. We're
for the
triple
UFC.
A.
Yeah. No, that's where we're at. We've been doing this less than a year. Well, we've been doing this for a little over a year. This is, we got 47 episodes out. Got a lot of cool shit happening, like our calendar, what's happening in Baltimore.
Nice.
We're about to integrate. We're building a platform where it's going to integrate any participating calendar where you post one thing and it'll just populate everywhere.
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
huge. And if something changes, you change it one place
And
and
it
it'll
goes-
update
yeah,
because
that's
people
awesome.
forget where they're pushing shit. So
Yeah,
we're
that's
starting
Right.
to look.
It's a
We're starting to look for sponsors. We have and just getting into the game and try because we're all self-funded. And
I know that's
wild.
both of my businesses are self-funded.
and then we have a music series that we did. We did a 16-week run at Guilford Hall Brewery where every Tuesday we had live music. That was great. We took a break, and now we're going to start that up again in September on Thursdays. We're moving it to Thursdays. We think that'll be a little more happening.
Nice.
And we're looking for sponsors for that too.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I
Yeah.
forgot to give the websites. So
Yeah.
dude.
for Shogun, it's
Right.
shogunfights.com, and for Ground Control, there's a few locations. The Rosedale is groundcontrolbaltimore.com, but there is a groundcontrolusa.com like landing page where
Gotcha.
you can go there and
Yep.
pick
It'll
which
ask you
one
which
wanna go to.
region.
Yep,
Right.
you'll be able to find all that stuff.
Yeah, this was a real honor, sir.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
It
We
was fun.
appreciate everything you've done
A
for the
history
city.
lesson on. I used to watch UFC back in the day, but that was like a
Yeah, like in
clinic.
Florida when
that
was
was a clinic
Hoist
I got.
Gracie.
I was enjoying listening to the stories and listening to you talk
man.
about everything.
Well,
man.
look, I enjoyed it. It's the beautiful facility here, and
Yeah, man.
So who knows? In the future, you guys have me back, and we'll tell some more stories.
Yeah, because I said we'll go deep into everything.
Yeah.
We got plenty of time, but it was a good time,
Yep,
man.
yep.
Stay
Cool.
sane, Baltimore.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for listening, Baltimore. You can find us at www.sanitylounge.com or on Instagram at sanity.lounge.
Keep listening and subscribe.
Stay sane, Baltimore.